Blink up, baby. You just hit my line for the wind down. There's only one thing on my mind when you come around me. I get lost in where you found me. Want you to use me. You let her confuse me. Don't wanna hide the fact that you make me feel that way. Want you to give me play. I see it in your eyes, you're lonely. Come put that body on me. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. They can't do you like I will. Nobody do you like I will. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. They can't do you like I will. They can't do you like I will. Like I will.
I treat you right, I will.
I treat you right, I will.
Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. I treat you right, I will.
I treat you right, I will.
Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel.
I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. They can't do you like I will. Like I will. Pick up the phone, little baby. You got me up and I'm wavy. You know I want you to myself. You know you've been driving me crazy. Looking me right in the eye and tell me it's mine. If not, I'ma make it that way. You know I want you in a major way. I bless that body, make you share your grace. I've been trying to get you face to face. Fall through and give you ways to waste. I do what it takes. I make them walls sing on your heartstrings. Say your arms.
I treat you right, I will. I treat you right, I will.
Trust me, I got you, baby.
Know how to make you feel. I treat you right, I will.
I hit it right, I will.
Trust me, I got you, baby.
Know how to make you feel. I hit it right, I will.
Trust me, I got you, baby.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So shout out to everybody on Saturday morning. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Y'all already know we about to do the sound check. 1 2 1 2. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up or a radiation emoji in the chat. If you guys cannot hear me, give me a thumbs down or an angry face, and we will get it cracking. All right. I'm gonna shout out everybody that is in the building early. All right. We got Faith and Lighten. What's up with it, Faith? Good to see you. We got Brooklyn Queen in the building. Shout out to Brooklyn Queen. We got Denise Scales up in here. We got Al McCowan. We got Shamika Gray. We got Black Free Thinker. We got, who else we got? We got Alvin Learning in the building. We got Katsy. Shout out to Katsy. We got my man A.B. with the ducats. With the ducats. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know what going with the ducats, Aflac. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all show him some love. Throw some radiation emoji, ducks, flames, whatever y'all want to in the chat. Who else we got up in here? We got Caldona. Shout out to Caldona. We got Lavanya. Shout out to Lavanya B1. Let me see your tongue ring. Yeah, I think that's it, man. That's it. So let's get it cracking. All right, we're going to talk about the undocumented bro. Smash that like button, hit that bell. If y'all from New York or Chi-Town, tag somebody that you know, and let's get it. All right. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about, I don't know if anybody is aware, but word to the people in New York City, hip-hop mayor Eric Adams made an announcement. The announcement is that there are going to be record-setting budget cuts in New York. What does that mean for the people of New York? Let's find out, shall we?
Budget cuts across every city agency, from libraries to schools and even the NYPD.
And no surprise, he's blaming the cuts on the migrant crisis. Fox 5's Morgan McKay is now in studio with a closer look at which services are going to be cut. Morgan.
Stephen, Natasha, today City Hall officials announced they are enacting around $4 billion in budget cuts.
Now, let me ask you guys this question, and this is a stupid question, but we just got to lay this out. Shout out to Roots Trackers. Shout out to Win, Lose a Rug. What's good with it, bro? So when the budget gets cut, does that mean that your taxes get cut, or does that mean that you're probably going to still spend the same amount of taxes or more and receive less services? What does that mean? What does that mean? So now here's the question that goes beyond that. If the services are already stretched and people are already paying lots of money in taxes, if the services are going to be reduced as a result of decreased funding coming from budget cuts, how is that going to affect every element of New York life? Law enforcement, safety, healthcare, transportation, housing. How's that going to affect all of that stuff? Is that fair to the taxpayers?
Over the next year and a half, that will cancel the hiring of new police officers, slash the education budget by $1 billion, and close libraries on Sundays. City officials say that
the education budget is going to get slashed by $1 billion. And libraries are going to close. Man, what? Listen, man, I'm going to tell you something. People all across the United States cannot afford to pick up less books and have less education. Would you guys agree? I don't really think that that's what we need. You know what I'm saying? I think that people here in the United States probably need to pick up as many books as they possibly can. Like anytime you see a book, pick it up and open it and start reading it. And as anytime there's any kind of education available for the people in the United States, people literally need to be eating that up like they're at a buffet. You know what I'm saying? If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, then give me a thumbs down. Also, if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure you guys smash that like button. Let's try to get over 40 likes.
This is all due to the migrant crisis, and without additional federal aid, these cuts will only continue to grow. These cuts will also go into effect immediately.
That would mean disruptions to the services we all rely on.
In a pre-recorded video, Mayor Eric Adams outlined expansive 5% budget cuts at every city agency that are expected to happen again 2 more times next year. And nothing is untouched. For the first time in decades, the NYPD will have fewer than 30,000 employees, and they will also be postponing the next 5 classes of officers.
Hey, let me ask y'all a question real quick. How many of y'all caught that, like, out the corner of your eye? What's up with all them trash bags? What's up with this? What's going on here? What is up with all these damn trash bags outside? The front of that place looks like a teenager's bedroom. You know what I'm saying?
Also be postponing the next 5 classes of officers. PBA President Patrick Henry said in part, quote, "This is truly a disaster for every New Yorker who cares about safe streets. Cops are already stretched to our breaking point." City Council Finance Chair Justin Brannon agreed that this is not the time to make cuts to public safety.
If you talk to most people on the street, they want to see more cops, not less.
The city has taken in more than 142,000 migrants since last spring, and the Adams administration blames this crisis for these cuts. City officials say without additional federal aid, these cuts will continue. The Adams administration.
So now let me ask you all this. Do you all feel that New York will end up getting additional federal aid or no? Yeah, that's facts, RJ. Those might be quote unquote suitcases, big facts.
Also plans to make about 20% cuts to migrant services, but wouldn't go into specifics.
We're taking a look at everything. One of the first things that we are looking at is the asylum seeker operations and where we can be making savings.
Here's a breakdown of some of the other major cuts. For the FDNY, overtime costs will be reduced, any civilian vacancies will be eliminated, as well as light-duty firefighter positions. For the Education Department, $547 million.
So now that's interesting, right? I want to ask you guys about the quote-unquote light-duty fire department positions. When do people, in most cases, work light duty? When does that happen? So now my thing is that, shout out to Chanel. What's good with the Chanel? If you know when people work light duty, if they plan on getting rid of these light duty fire department positions, how are they going to accommodate those particular situations that put people into working light duty positions? Yeah, that's facts. If you guys agree with RJ, give me a thumbs up. In most cases, when you're injured or when you're waiting for a workers' comp case to settle, in most cases, you'll end up working light duty, or either as part of your workers' compensation settlement, you'll be assigned to light duty for a particular duration of time. And I'm assuming that being a fireman, that's probably workers' comp intensive. So being a fireman probably deal with more workers' comp claims than what one would say would be the average industry. You know what I'm saying? So now my question is if they get rid of these light duty positions, what's going to happen with the injured firemen when they're on workers' comp or when they're waiting for a workers' comp claim to process?
Will be cut this fiscal year and another $600 million in 2025. A total of $1 billion will be slashed over 2 years. Middle schoolers will see reduced hours for the Summer Rising Summer program, and thousands of spots for universal pre-kindergarten will be cut. Libraries will also see major funding cuts, and library leaders say that.
Now, again, a lot of the quote-unquote investment, the future investment in the youth, education, library programs, that's where they're making all of these cuts. People are paying taxes as well as working in order to invest in a better future for their children. But these budgets are being cut to accommodate people that aren't even paying taxes. Now, I want to ask you guys this question. If you're an individual from New York and you do not agree with what's going on, you have an issue with this, you feel like this is not fair, my question for you all is, what would you recommend in order to get this situation rectified?
that starting in December, this will force them to close most of their branches on Sundays.
I think this is a moment that really calls for, thoughtful, like a surgeon's blade, what I've been saying, right? Not these wholesale cuts across the board.
And these are not the only budget cuts coming. The Adams administration has warned city agencies that they should brace for an additional 2 rounds of 5% budget cuts early next year, totaling another 10% if the city does not receive more state or federal aid to help with the migrant crisis.
So it looks like these budget cuts more than likely are coming. Now, I'm curious, and I'm actually asking this question because I don't know the answer. Maybe some of you all might know it, but if the federal government is not cooperative, or if the state government is not cooperative with the budget cuts, is there any way that the civilians in the cities or in these areas, is there any way that they could advocate or petition in order to somehow bypass the legislative process to get a focus put on what's going on there and have an outside assessment done to see if more federal or more state funding is necessary or not? Because to me, it would seem like there'd be an outside process that would be necessary, because the federal government or the state government could just arbitrarily say, no, we're not giving you any money. And they might have money available to give. And if that's the case, then that's going to make things even more difficult for the people. And the thing is that when it comes to the taxes that we're paying state, local, and federal. So if we're having these issues on a state, local, and federal level, all of those funds should be available to the point of transfer of where the individual paid the taxes. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make sense, then give me a thumbs down.
Now to the tough economic reality that is about to start swallowing New York City. Budget cuts that will affect every agency in the biggest city in the country. Mayor Adams faced when he took office with a huge challenge of...
They said it's about to start swallowing New York City. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Torian Rain. What's good with it, bro?
Building New York City's economy after the pandemic, but now overrun by the challenge of asylum seekers pouring into New York. The cost, more than $11 billion. The cuts starting this month will affect every agency in New York, from libraries to the NYPD to fill in the blank. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Barker filling in some blanks for us. He's live at City Hall. NJ.
Yeah, right, Bill. From the war on rats to the war on crime, you name it, in one way or another, it's being scaled back. Cuts to the FDNY while batteries are blowing up. Cuts to the NYPD amid fears of rising crime.
The budget cuts will affect every neighborhood in New York and every agency in the city. The FDNY will not be spared. The sanitation department will make fewer collections. But the cuts will cut deepest at the NYPD, where the Adams administration has proposed shrinking the department by 13.5% within just 2 years.
Shout out to Pamela X, B1 Harlem in the building, Harlem World. You know what I'm saying? What's good? So now, here's my question. How do people protest this? How do people get this changed? How do people get this reversed? The issue, if you ask me, that I think that New York is having, the first issue that New York is having is that New York bit off more than it can chew by declaring itself a sanctuary state. If you guys agree with that, if you guys agree with part one, give me a thumbs up. If you all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Number two, their budget and their resources and their physical space are completely maxed out to capacity. There's nowhere else to turn for space or for money. Problem number three, the federal government and the state government are unwilling to help. Now, here's my question. What have the federal government and the state government been spending the money on that they're not able to provide additional funding to New York City? That's my question. Where is the money? Why can't they provide any more emergency funding to New York City? And now here's another question. Has Mayor Eric Adams declared an emergency? Because if I'm not mistaken, once a declaration of emergency has been declared, that would then open up the locality or the region that declared the emergency for additional funds through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which was FEMA, right? So if they declared an emergency, I would assume that would open up eligibility for an assessment and some funds from FEMA. But I don't know if that's occurred yet. If there's anybody that knows if that occurred yet, give me a thumbs up, or let me know in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Maxwell Jenkins. What's good with it?
The mayor sounding the alarm earlier this week.
When we look at around police, what the numbers our police officers are going to be, and how we've done so well in dropping crime in our city, it's going to be extremely painful for New Yorkers.
The mayor is proposing a 5% budget cut across the board, cuts to preschool programs and summer school, reduced hours in libraries, and aid for migrants would be scaled back.
Those kids need those summer programs, and those kids need those libraries. That is like crucial. It really irks me that the programs for investment in the future generations are always the things that get hit first, as if we can afford to get rid of that stuff in order to put something else forward. You know what I'm saying? That is, I hate that. I hate that. I love seeing like the little kids, like with the cursive writing board and like, all of the little kid characters and like little mind stimulating education stuff for the kids and stuff like that. It really like makes me angry when that stuff is taken away. You know what I'm saying?
Mayor Adams insisted today that the migrant crisis is what's causing the fiscal crisis.
The asylum seeker humanitarian crises have skyrocketed, placing great strain on our budget.
But others disagree. City Hall said Comptroller Brad Lander should stop suggesting that asylum seekers are the reason for imposing severe cuts when they're only contributing to a portion of these budget gaps, much of which already existed.
So now here's my question. How much of it already existed? Yeah, man, I enjoy, the future for the kids, man. A lot of that stuff is stuff that I did when I was young, going to library programs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? After school programs and extracurricular programs and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's big facts. If you guys notice what Pamela said here, and shout out to Catsy. Catsy says, Maxwell, I honestly believe that they are intentionally trying to dumb down the population. It's by design. Yeah, I would agree with that. Pamela says, you'll notice Holschel has been elusive in all this. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. If y'all know where Kathy Hochul been at, let me know. Have you seen her? Have you seen her? Seen her.
The FDNY would likely slash overtime spending. The NYPD would be cut by $1.1 billion over 4 years, postponing 5 academy graduations while losing other officers to retirements. These cuts, said the PBA president, will return us to staffing levels we haven't seen since the crime epidemic of the 80s and the 90s. We cannot go back there. Justin Brannon is the chairman of the City Council's Finance Committee.
The silver lining is that tax revenue continues to outperform and outpace all of the forecasts that we're seeing. The economy, the New York City economy, is durable and resilient. Our jobs are back. Tourism is coming back. We just have to weather this storm.
And more good news, no new taxes and no layoffs. But the city council will have to approve all of this. And the fact is...
Now, let me ask you guys this. He just said that there's no new taxes and no new layoffs, right? Is that a temporary situation or is that a long-term situation? If you ask me, okay, we can say that now, right? But as time goes on and more money is necessary and those budget cuts, the money that's being saved starts to narrow because expenditures are increasing, they're going to be looking for revenue sources elsewhere. And in order to tap into revenue sources elsewhere, they're going to start doing things to try to free up money. They're going to start downsizing. They're going to start eliminating positions. You know what I'm saying? People are going to end up being unemployed. Then when people get unemployed, that unemployment pool of money is going to get tapped. So this is going to create a cascading problem that is not going to go away. Now, what I'm curious about is how much of it, they said that this issue is already part of an existing issue, right? Which, I would agree with that. There probably is a budget issue in New York City. New York is a big city that takes up a lot of resources. I'm not saying that that's out of the realms of, possible or out of the realms of possibility. But my question is, how severe do you think that it was? If we're looking at the amount of money that it costs to house and feed a migrant, which we have in prior streams, if the migrant crisis didn't exist, those wouldn't be there. So multiply the per day cost times the amount of migrants times the amount of days that all of those migrants would be here. And that's a cost that would be non-existent without the migrant crisis, right? Now, that's a significant amount of money. They had came up with the figure, if I'm not mistaken, early on in this of about $12 billion. Does that sound correct? $12 billion. That doesn't sound like a small percentage of the budget. Now, I don't know what New York City's budget is. And even if it is a small percentage of the budget, it's a large number. It doesn't change the nominal value. $12 billion is a lot of money. That's not something that is very easy for people to come by at the spur of the moment. Would you guys agree?
They don't like most of it. Live tonight.
Okay, so there's that, right? We done. So let's check out some more because the news agencies are not really liking Mayor Eric Adams, quote unquote, blaming the migrant crisis for the budget cuts. Now, let me ask you guys this. Let's just play devil's advocate. What else is causing budget cuts to have to occur? Now, crime is probably one thing, right? Overcrowding is probably another thing. The homeless epidemic, which has completely been ignored, is probably another thing. But now, here's my question. Let's compile all of the factors that could possibly be contributing to the budget cuts in addition to the migrant crisis. The reason why I'm saying we need to compile all of these, right, is because we need to compile all of these other issues. Then we need to add all of the amounts of issues that the amount of dollars that these other issues are causing and compare that total dollar amount to the amount isolated that the migrant crisis is causing. And then we have to do some good old second grade math with the alligator mouth, greater than, less than. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what they're talking about here.
More about the steep budget cuts coming from Mayor Eric Adams, calling for 5% cuts in every department, including public safety. This as he continues to make a public appeal for the federal government to step up and help offset the cost of the migrant crisis. Fox 5's Lizette Nunez joins us now from outside City Hall with what the mayor is asking for. Good morning, Lizette.
Now, this is what I want to ask everybody. Why hasn't the federal government, quote unquote, stepped up and quote unquote helped with the migrant crisis? Are they supposed to? And here's my question. If they did, quote unquote, step up and help with the migrant crisis, what would federal intervention on a local level of help with the migrant crisis look like? How would that appear? What would that translate to? And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate each and every one of you all that's watching. If you all have not smashed the like button, please take a moment, smash the like button. Also, if you all have not hit the bell, please make sure you hit the bell and subscribe to the channel, and also share the stream to your social media.
Good morning, Dan. Well, the budget cuts are far-reaching. We're talking every city agency will be impacted, and this goes into effect immediately.
We're in some serious financial trouble right now.
Mayor Adams making these remarks at a town hall after the city announced major budget cuts. Adams says the migrant crisis is to blame as it continues to put a strain on New York City resources.
The national government should be picking up this tab, and it should not be coming out of the backs of everyday New Yorkers. That is wrong, and that is what is happening.
The budget cuts mean that the...
Now, Eric Adams talking like that might mess around and get some feds in his driveway. You know what I'm saying? Or people close to him might mess around and have some feds waiting for him in their office when they come to work in the morning. Seems like that's kind of what happens at times, doesn't it? It's interesting.
Police force would be reduced to under 30,000, the lowest number in decades. Plus, impose a hiring freeze on the NYPD.
Oh, yeah. Eric Adams still the big homie. He's still the big homie. We still about to sip some Ciroc at the Barclay. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna work on the collab for the mixtape. You already know. You know what I'm saying? You already know.
That would postpone 5 new classes of incoming officers. The PBA president calling it a disaster at a time where officers are already stretched thin.
We have a crisis in this city. We do not have enough police.
Hey, can we just give a shout out for homeboy with this young ass vest on real quick? Look at that. I need 4 officers down here right now. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. Look at that. Damn. That is a stereotypical police officer right there. That dude right there. Sit right there on the screen right there. Now he's the kind of police officer you can look at him and tell he's going to shoot you in the back because he's not running after anybody. He's not running after anybody. When he tells you to stop and freeze, freeze. Because his ass ain't about to chase you down. He's going to shoot. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he probably got his own little dispatch station set up at the donut shop. And he just sits there and just sucks down coffee and cinnamon fritters all day long. Yeah, 2 donuts away from a heart attack, bro. Facts. Big facts. Big facts. Just like this big ass police officer right here. He the main reason why they came up with them damn police robots. Because you know he get tired just turning the steering wheel. You know what I'm saying? You just sit down in the car, he turn on the ignition, he hit a sharp right, immediately drenched in sweat. Like, what did you do, bro? Yeah, he got the G-Unit vest on. Facts. Oh, man. He got the G-Unit vest on, man. That's Officer Bullock. You know what I'm saying? Detective Bullock from Batman and shit. Yeah, Commissioner Gordon, I need to speak to Mayor Eric Adams. Is he there? Is he there? There's been a breakout in Axis Chemicals. I think Jack Napier was down there and maybe a couple others. You know what I'm saying? Commissioner, it's the damn Batman. I keep trying to tell you this.
Ready, stretched thin.
We have a crisis in this city. We do not have enough police officers.
Other departments will also be impacted.
Hey, also, it's clear from that last picture that one area of budgets that do not need to be cut is the gym and physical education part of the budget for the New York Police Department. Also, please make sure you put some vegetables in the vending machine, please. You know what I'm saying? Please. Officers like him kill people because they can't run. You know what I'm saying? Let's try to work on creative solutions to stop some of these problems here.
The FDNY will be asked to reduce overtime costs. Any civilian vacancies will be eliminated, as well as light-duty firefighter positions.
As the mayor has said, we're concerned about this fiscal crunch, the migrant crisis, and what it's going to do to our bottom line. Right now, our main objective is to make sure that we are protecting life and property, which is
oh man, that is exactly what he ate, bro. The one with the gold aluminum foil on it too. With the yellow bun with all the seeds on it. He ate one of those. He ate one of those good pastrami sandwiches from a place where they sell corned beef sandwiches and gyros at. He ate the pastrami sandwich with the gyro sauce on it, bro. Only people that's that damn big and wear trench coats eat pastrami sandwiches, like still in the foil and shit. And it was one of them ones that had onions hanging all off of it too. You know what I'm saying? It had the onions hanging all off of it. He one of them type of pigs that wipes his mouth with the foil, I bet. You see people like him walking up and down the street all the damn time.
Even with these budget cuts, but it does mean that some important programs will have to wait.
As for the Department of Education, $1 billion will be slashed over the next 2 years. Middle schoolers will see reduced hours for the Summer Rising program, and thousands of pre-K spots will be cut. This comes as New York City Public Schools saw its first bump in enrollment in years. 8,000 additional students have been added to the school system. City libraries will not be spared from cuts. Library leaders say
now check this out. Where did those additional 8,000 kids come from in the school? I think that's important to pay very close attention to, because what they'll try to do is they'll try to attribute that bump in enrollment or that bump in students to education budget But that bump in enrollment and that bump in students, it came from somewhere. My question is, where did that came from? Only arrest he'll be making is cardiac arrest. Facts. And the only taser he'll be using is a damn defibrillator. Big facts. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else will be talking about freeze. They'll be on top of his ass talking about clear. Oh, he's one of those people that just takes a bottle of Tums and pours it into his mouth like it's a salt shaker. Have you ever seen people do that? Or they'll have a whole bottle of Malox like in the cup section of their car, and they just open it up and sip the Malox or the Pepto-Bismol like it's a you know what I'm saying, like it's a beverage. If you eat that amount of slop from a deli, cold cut sandwiches with loads of butter on toasted buns and croissants and chili and stuff like that, just loads of it. If you just sitting there eating that to the point to where every time you take a step, you farting, every time you turn your head, you burping, your stomach sound like a damn tea kettle because it's bubbling so much, you gotta sit there and take a damn swig of Pepto-Bismol or Malox, you really, really, really need to get your life together, bro. With your diet, you got like 2 years left. And you probably in your late 30s. That motherfucker in his late 30s.
Starting next month, most of the branches will be forced to close on Sunday.
And the Department of Sanitation will also be feeling the impacts. There will be fewer litter pickups, and the mayor urging New Yorkers to clean up after themselves and help up with any cleanup, which is a
now, you know this isn't about to happen. This is not about to happen. Oh, Coke and Mentos. Yeah, facts. Facts. You got any Tums? You know how like they used to play that Matlock music anytime like it would be some police or detectives. Anytime that police officer pull up in, because you know the kind of car he had. He's either got a Ford Crown Victoria with a siren that he take out of the dashboard or that he take out of the glove box and put on top of the car, or he got a box-shaped Chevrolet Caprice with bad shocks on it with his big ass. He one of them type of people that when he swings and gets into the car, you know what I'm saying? When he swings into the car, the car bounces down so hard, the bumper almost hits the street and then it bounces back up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all seen people like that that's big like that. They mess up the shocks as soon as they get in the car. We got to hurry up and get here. And then he's jump into the car like it's not going to do anything to it. And like the car goes all the way down to the ground and it pops back up. Like, man, damn. You know what I'm saying?
similar message he sent when the incoming class of school safety agents was cut. Happening later today, there will also be a rally here with elected leaders as well as union leaders who will be opposing these cuts. That's latest here from City Hall. We'll send things back inside.
Hearing a lot more about this. Okay, Lizette, thank you very much.
Okay, all right, hold on real quick. Wait a minute. Councilwoman opposed to shelter. Let's look at this real quick. Let me hold on real quick. Before we look at that, let me just see. Okay, yeah, we'll save this. We're gonna look at this CBS report. Now, here's a quick fact about these budget cuts. Budget cuts would drop number of New York police officers to lowest since the 90s. Now, here's my question. If these budget cuts drop the amount of police officers to the lowest that they've been since the 90s, my question for you all is, what is going to be the effect on the city with police at those numbers? Now, if you ask me, one thing that they might want to do is they might want to go back over crime statistics. Shout out to Mastermind Hour. What's good with it, bro? They might want to go back over crime statistics. They might want to go back over other type of incidents that involve the police and see how efficient response times were, error margins, different things like that. They might want to see how at those levels in the 90s, police performance and quality were. Because if you ask me, the workload and the demand for that workload has increased since the 90s. So the big problem that we're going to be dealing with is that the police are going to be working over capacity at all times, and it's going to be a continuum of working over capacity, which is probably going to cause more errors, have the police already work less efficient than they already are. And if you ask me, there's not only going to be increased crime, but there's also going to be increased police incidents, not only incidents of not using protocol with criminals, but there's going to be increased police incidents with civilians as a result of all these changes as well. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, then give me a thumbs down. Yep. Hold on real quick. My bad, y'all. Let me run. I'm going to run this back. I thought I had it up on the screen. All right, here we go.
Adams unveils his first round of budget cuts and has promised the cuts are painful.
The 5% cuts across the board will affect every agency, sanitation programs, and school budgets. But the most dramatic effect will be on public safety and the police department. CBS 2.
Now, here's my question, right? We see this, right? We see all of this. So now here's what happens, right? This becomes a cascading issue of problems. And now, being that we're going to start changing the way that we deal with politics, we're going to look at politics currently and how what goes on currently could possibly cause projected issues 5 to 10 years into the future. Now, you guys see what they have on the screen here, right? They got sanitation, they got education, and they got police. Now, here's my question. If budget cuts occur today and these budget cuts go on for a long period of time on all three of these things, and the budget cuts continue, which means there's going to be less money available, right? For each of these things, what will be the long-term effects of operating with a budget cut? What's the effect on sanitation going to be? How is that going to affect people in the city? What's the effect on education going to be? How is that going to affect children and adults in the city? Police, how is that going to affect the city? Let me know in the comment section the long-term effects of this and how people are going to be able to deal with it. Because by the time the long-term effects of this are felt, the media is then going to take the narrative and spin it and blame the issue on something else, because the migrant crisis may still be going on, but it'll be long forgotten and something else will be in everybody's face that we'll be paying attention to. You know what I'm saying? I think that is something that we might be dealing with. So I think it's important for people to pay very close attention to this stuff. Make sure that you keep it in the forefront and understand exactly where the root cause of all of these things are. So when they turn around and try to say, well, this is happening because of XYZ. Nah, we got receipts that say otherwise. We got receipts that say otherwise. Shout out to Kid Gravity. You know what I'm saying?
Political reporter Marsha Kramer here now to break this part down. Marsha.
Christina Maurice, Mayor Adams' former NYPD captain Eric Adams was elected in part on his promise to cut crime and make the streets safe again. So it's ironic that while every agency is taking a hit, these cuts will drop the number of cops patrolling the streets, now get this, to the lowest number since the 1990s.
This is the most painful exercise I've ever done in my professional life.
A frank admission from Mayor Adams as he hosted a town hall for older adults at the Hudson Guild. It came minutes after his budget director admitted in a briefing that the need for belt tightening to deal with the $7 billion budget gap caused in part by the migrant crisis and by the reduction in federal aid for COVID.
Okay, so now this is what we need to be paying attention to. How much did they say was the cost caused by the migrant crisis? I need you guys to put the number in the chat.
Crisis and by the
Hold on.
The $7 billion budget gap.
The $7 billion budget gap. So as of right now, this news report from CBS 2 New York is saying that there's a budget gap that cost $7 billion specifically as a result of the migrant crisis. $7 billion. Let me ask you guys this question. If New York didn't have this $7 billion addition to their ongoing issues, would it be easier for them to deal with their budget? If it would be, give me a thumbs up. If it would not be, then give me a thumbs down. Shout out to my man John Guillory, and shout out to Help Me. What's good with y'all? And also, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed the like button, please take a moment. Make sure you guys smash the like button. If you guys have not hit the bell, please take a moment, hit the bell, and subscribe to the channel. Also, please share the stream to your social media. And also, be sure you're subscribed to the backup channels.
Budget gap caused in part by the migrant crisis and by the reduction in federal aid for COVID would force the city to stop hiring cops for the foreseeable future. The budget director said the next 5 classes at the police academy will be canceled. The number of cops expected.
Now, this is going to cause training issues, right? Anytime there's a police brutality issue, excessive force issue, anytime there's any of the, I wish there was 61K likes. That'd be dope. You know what I'm saying? That'd be great. That'd be ducats for real. You know what I'm saying? But do you guys think that there's gonna, with the budget cuts occurring, and they're occurring and causing the issues with the particular parts of the police that we're talking about right here, is this going to cause police accountability issues as a result of incidents resulting from insufficient training? Are we going to be hearing more incidents of that occurring in New York City? What do you guys think?
Aid for COVID would force the city to stop hiring cops for the foreseeable future. The budget director said the next 5 classes at the police academy will be canceled. The number of cops expected to drop from 33,541 to about 29,000 in the fiscal year that starts next July. He said that's the lowest number of cops since the 1990s.
Okay, so now here's another thing, right? The population in New York City is increasing without an end of the increase in sight as a result of the undocumented bros. Now, the population is increasing, but the amount of police officers is decreasing. What are the effects of that going to be?
Police Benevolent Association President Patrick Hendry was stunned, saying the cuts could kill 30 years of public safety progress, telling CBS 2 in a statement, quote, "This is truly a disaster for every New Yorker who cares about safe streets. Cops are already stretched to our breaking point, and these cuts will return us to staffing levels we haven't seen since the crime epidemic of the 80s and 90s. We cannot go back there." Details of many of the cuts remain sketchy. The teachers union said 653 schools, 43% of the school system, would be hit with mid-year budget cuts. The Department of Education said there would be a $120 million cut to pre-K and 3K programs, and an undetermined number of the 37,000 vacant slots will be left unfilled. There will be fewer litter baskets, a $5.5 million cut that will be felt more in the outer boroughs and residential areas. There are also cuts to sanitation programs to clean pedestrian areas, greenways, empty lots, and other areas. Brooklyn Councilman Justin Brannon, the head of the Council Finance Committee, said city lawmakers would work hard to find ways to roll back the cuts.
The city council is not going to allow for the mayor to make cuts to essential city services that New Yorkers rely on and depend on, whether that's keeping the city safe, whether that's keeping our streets clean, whether it's making sure that people's food stamps get processed. You know, these are just lifelines that we're not going to allow to be cut.
Now, Brandon said the council will begin holding hearings on the city's reliance on expensive hotels to house migrants and whether.
Now, this is why are they spending money on these expensive hotels to house migrants? That's my question. Why is that what money is being spent on? Why aren't they using cost-effective hotels? Why aren't they using cost-effective measures? Why are we putting migrants in expensive hotels? Are expensive hotels in New York City the only place that are suitable for migrants to stay until their next destination or until their court hearing? Residents of New York can stay in roach motels, but the migrants have to stay in expensive ones? I don't understand that.
Lines that we're not going to allow to be cut.
Now, Brandon said the council will begin holding hearings on the city's reliance on expensive hotels to house migrants and whether there is a better way going forward. He, like the mayor, called on the state and federal governments to provide more assistance. Guys?
And this is a proposal, first look, right? Not in stone.
No, this is what they're supposed to go into effect now. There'll be another 5% cut, more than this, in January, and another possible cut in May if they don't get any aid.
Okay, to be clear, thank you.
Good.
Marsha, thank you.
All right, so there's that, right? So now this is something that I don't understand right here. There's tension that's going on between the residents and the migrants. Same thing that's going on in Chicago is the same thing that we're seeing in New York City. People outside protesting, migrants getting angry, all out on the block, kicking it. You know what I'm saying? Mad degeneracy popping off. People sipping on wild Irish rose. You know what I'm saying? Jose Cuervo. All kinds of bottles on the street. You know what I'm saying? Women all on top of the car, kicking it. Face tattoos, all of the good stuff, right? During all of that, the block being hot and everything popping, some people in New York City, a group of migrants and a group of civilians, found time to find themselves engaged in a food fight. Now, here goes my question. If I just cross the Darien Gap and I'm hungry as hell, the last thing that I'm going to do is take some food and throw it at somebody. If anything, I'm going to take that food and throw it down because I'm hungry and my hungry ass is grateful because before I got that food, I was starving because I walked all the way up here from the Southern Hemisphere barefoot. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, that's not what happened. What ended up happening is some Three Stooges type shit went on in Queens. Larry, Curly, and Shep. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to take a look at this and see what ended up happening.
A food fight in one neighborhood in Queens between NYCHA tenants and newly arrived migrants.
I was waiting for him to do it like the real news. A food fight in one neighborhood became deadly. You know what I'm saying?
A food fight in one neighborhood in Queens between NYCHA tenants and newly arrived migrants.
Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez shows us how tensions are growing with not enough food to go around.
Why do we have to take the butt of everything? Okay,
So if you don't have enough food to go around, why are you having a food fight? They was up there like Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi with breadsticks and pretzels. Like, why would you do that? Sit your ass down somewhere and eat the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are adults that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand.
community here is already suffering.
The residents living in NYCHA's Queensbridge houses look forward to the mobile food pantries that show up weekly. But over the past year, they have witnessed 8,000 migrants move into their neighborhood, and they've also noticed the migrants are also starting to take their.
So shout out to the Queensbridge houses. Y'all know some of the Queensbridge houses are home to some of the best MCs known to the rap game. You know what I'm saying? We got Nas Escobar. You know what I'm saying? We got Nature coming from Queensbridge. Wasn't MC Shan from Queensbridge? Mobb Deep. You know what I'm saying? Capone from Capone and Noriega. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Self Awareness TV. What's good with it, bro? So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got some classic hip hop MCs from Queensbridge. You know what I'm saying?
Stuff. They was first online for the turkeys this morning. They tell you to be there at 11 o'clock. You get there like 10:30, 10:45, but they already out there. The line is from over there to over here.
Free food giveaways, especially during the holidays, have become a source of tension between longtime New Yorkers struggling to get by and newly arrived migrants who are using the system to survive. A month ago, one altercation.
You hear what it said? It said newly arrived migrants who are using the system to get by. That don't sound like hard work, but can we give a shout out for like how they stack these plates though? You know what I'm saying? And what's this shit right here? I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know what this shit is, but it actually looks really good. Kid Gravity, you still in here? What is this? What is this right here? That shit looks like it tastes great. Look how big they got, like whole chicken legs.
Have become a source of tension between longtime New Yorkers struggling to get by and newly arrived migrants who are using the system to survive.
Those are some big pieces of meat they're just putting in there. Is that stuffing? Really? Oh, they threw down on that stuffing. That's some stuffing? Oh yeah, they threw down on that shit. Hold on real quick. Oh yeah, they threw down on that. I don't even need no turkey, man. I can just get a plate of that and throw some gravy on top of it. Self-Awareness TV says, do they get a monthly stipend by the U.S. government? In New York and in Chicago, as of right now, I don't believe they do. I believe in Denver that they get $1,500 per month, and I'm not sure for how many months. Yeah, that look good. Like, that looks so good. You can smell that right through the TV. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how moms used to make it. Facts. See, y'all know I'm a foodie. I can just see it. I'm sitting here staring at this shit. Let me go ahead and press play.
Especially during the holidays, have become a source of tension between longtime New Yorkers struggling to get by and newly arrived migrants who are using the system to survive. A month ago,
Shout out to
an
Lloyd Sky
altercation
9.
got
What's
so
good,
heated
bro?
between a resident and a migrant, someone ended up in the hospital.
We would never turn anyone away for a meal, but there simply just is not enough for both NYCHA residents and the migrant shelter residents.
Council member Julie Wan says she alerted the mayor to the growing tension in her community and was able to get $50,000 to increase the number of hot meals served inside NYCHA's. But she's concerned the mayor's
Shout out to
budget
RG
cuts
Titan.
will
What's good
only
with it,
put
bro?
further stress on the community already living in scarcity.
People are going hungry right now. People are frustrated with not having enough to eat, not having heat and hot water in their shelters or in their houses in NYCHA. And people want to make sure that they just have their basic needs met, like any human would anywhere. And that's what's causing the tension.
And we're going to see what happens tomorrow. That's when the Reese family and Councilmember Wan are putting together a fall family feast equipped to serve 2,000 people. We're going to see how far the resources can stretch. In Queens, Ashley Rodriguez, Fox 5 News.
I thought we was going to get some details about the food fight, but you know what I'm saying? We didn't. But we got some good visuals for sure. You know what I'm saying? So now we already talked about Floyd Bennett Field, so I don't think we need to go into Floyd Bennett Field. And we also already talked about these budget cuts that they announced. I don't think we need to go over this anymore. So now we're going to move to Chicago. All right, we're going to move to Chicago. Now, Governor J.B. Pritzker. Oh, yeah, we definitely need a black light cookout, bro. We're going to have spaghetti there. We're going to throw some salmon on the grill. We're going to get them big giant shrimps and put some on shish kebabs with some scallops, you know what I'm saying, and some colorful bell pepper, you know what I'm saying. Get some tilapia. We're gonna get a bottle of Jose Cuervo and mix it with some Tahitian treat, you know what I'm saying. Put some ice in the bowl, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, we're gonna do it up. We're gonna do it up. We're gonna do it for real. That's that real barbecue right there. You know what I'm saying? That's that real cookout type shit. The 1800 on the ice. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we about to do it for real. What else? How many of y'all ever put the pineapples on the grill? If y'all put pineapples on the grill, give me a thumbs up. If y'all didn't put the pineapples on the grill, give me a thumbs down. We're going to put the pineapples on the grill. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get some ribs, about 4 or 5 full slabs of ribs. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go. I'm going to make sure that I go to Home Depot and get the best paintbrush that I can find to apply the barbecue sauce to the ribs. You know what I'm saying? What else we going to cook? What else we going to cook? Peach cobbler. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have some peach cobbler at that bad boy. Banana, we're going to have banana pudding. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have all that good shit there. Pineapples and avocado. Yeah, bro. Shout out to David Brown. What's good with it, bro? Yeah, it's going to be good, man. We're going to be slamming. We're going to have some good music playing. You know what I'm saying? Naughty by Nature. You know what I'm saying? Fresh Prince, Summertime. Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. That shit about to be old people lit. That shit about to be old people lit.
The state of Illinois has been watching as the city of Chicago continues to struggle with the influx of asylum seekers. Today, the governor came calling, and with more than just his checkbook in hand.
This is where we are right now. They are cold, so we will keep them warm. They are hungry, so we will feed them. They need our help, so we must do what we can.
So you guys already see JB Pritzker. You see JB Pritzker's position on this. JB Pritzker's position on this is, I don't care what the citizens of Illinois or Chicago say. I don't have a neck. And because I don't have a neck, we're going to do what I want to do. And what I want to do is continue to bring these people in. Doesn't matter what you voted for. Doesn't matter what you say in a town hall meeting. What these people want is what these people will get. You know what I'm saying? There it is right there. That's the man. He just spoke. Clearly, he does not care and is clueless as to what many of the residents of Chicago feel. You know what I'm saying? This dude has no neck, and he also has no sense of awareness.
Chicago has welcomed some 24,000 migrants since last summer, and with many still sleeping on floors at area police stations, at O'Hare Airport, and even outside, an impatient Governor Pritzker has seen enough.
We're stepping in here to try to help and accelerate this process.
Where's the neck? His neck is a conspiracy theory. Where is the neck? Sitting up there looking like Life with Louie. Yeah, them big giant shrimps, Black Spider. You know what I'm talking about. Them ones, them big giant shrimps with the big shrimps with the stripes on them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The big old shrimp. We could throw them shrimps on the grill too. What else? Shout out to Pirate. I ain't seen Pirate in a minute. What's good with it, Pirate? What else? What else is good? What else would taste good? Collard greens. Somebody got to bring some collard greens. Yo, somebody got to bring some collard greens. Somebody got to bring some black-eyed peas cooked the right way with some rice. You know what I'm saying? The tiger shrimp. Facts. Shout out to my man Black Bitcoin Key. What's good with it, bro? If y'all haven't hit that like button, make sure y'all hit that like button. Also, if y'all haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, and please share the stream to your social media. We might have to get some snow crab. We might have to bring some snow. We might have to have some snow crab. Cranberry sauce. We get some cranberry sauce. Oh, you grow tree collards? That's what's up. Yeah, we're gonna have to get some collard greens and some mustard greens. You know what I'm saying? I think that's good. We said some watermelon, honeydew melon, mango. See, and then what you got to do is you got to get ice, and then you got to cut up the fresh fruit. Then you got to put the fresh fruit and the ice all cut up into the blender, and then pour about 3 or 4 shots. Throw some Tito's in there. There it is right there. Like that's your night right there. You good. Y'all gonna be kicking it with your boy Blacklight.
It isn't moving fast enough. That's why you're seeing people still on the street.
Based on its own analysis of the migrant situation, the state will provide $30 million for a centralized intake center to better facilitate the needs of migrants upon their arrival in Chicago. $65 million for state-funded winterized tent shelters capable of housing 2,000 migrants for up to 6 months. And another $65 million to expand legal and support services designed to expedite the transition from shelters to more permanent living arrangements.
So now I want y'all to pay very close attention, right? Because we talked about these numbers. These are huge numbers when it comes to the cost of this immigration and this migrant influx to both New York City and to Chicago. Right? Now, what they're saying is that these mayors are saying that they're exaggerating the budget issues. But I don't believe that they are. I don't believe that they're exaggerating the budget issues. I believe that the budget issues are probably pretty close to what they're saying that the budget issues are. because these are some high prices. $30 million intake center, $65 million tent shelter, $65 million legal support services. And these right here are not individual costs. You know what I'm saying? These are not individual costs. These are costs for accessories. They haven't even given us the per migrant cost. And remember, the per migrant cost, we have to multiply that. Make sure that it's per migrant per day cost. Multiply that times the amount of days that they've been in the city. There is no way that the budget issues would be, the budget still may be out of control, but to the degree that the budget is out of control, the migrant crisis is absolutely, unequivocally, no questions asked, contributing to that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Wallow J. What's good with it? And real quick, if you guys have not checked out the Discord, please make sure you guys hit that link that's pinned in the comment section and join the Discord. All right. To the people that's in the Discord, if y'all enjoy the Discord and it's worth people jumping in, throw them Discord emojis into the chat.
To more permanent living arrangements. With overnight lows soon to hit the 20s, Pritzker understands the urgency is now.
This is a humanitarian endeavor. We cannot have people freezing on the streets of Chicago as we head into very cold weather.
The first migrants stepped off the bus here 15 months ago. Asked why there isn't a single brick and mortar shelter in the city, the governor seemed at a loss.
We've been absolutely encouraging the city to find bricks and mortar shelter. I'm not criticizing. I'm just suggesting that now here we are. We're, right up against winter and very cold weather.
On Wednesday, Mayor Brandon Johnson announced the city will be implementing a 60-day limit for shelter stays.
So now, how many people knew about that? We got to assess that and we got to break that down, and we will. We're going to actually watch Brandon NPC Johnson do his announcement where he goes over and talks about this endeavor to start a 60-day shelter limit. But I find it interesting. Isn't that the same route that New York City was going on? Didn't New York City do the same thing? They started to implement a 60-day shelter limit. Now, my question for you guys is, when New York City did it, what was the reason that they did it? Why did they do it? What was the point of them doing it? One of the reasons why they were doing it is because the shelters were filling up too fast. So they had to start moving people through the shelter system, right? That's one of the reasons why they did it. One of the reasons why they implemented the 60-day shelter stay limitation is because the shelters were at capacity and they wanted to get people through the system. They did a couple things. One of the things that they did was a 60-day shelter. The other thing that they did was start giving out temporary protected status, mainly to Venezuelans. They were doing all of that. You guys remember that? As much as Brandon Johnson has been, quote unquote, pro-immigration, pro-migrant, what we see happening is, despite his rhetoric not changing, what is changing are the terms and conditions of migrant utilization of local-owned facilities. That begins to occur when things are at capacity. If you ask me, what's about to start happening is Chicago is now entering that area where New York already is, of where they absolutely just can't take anymore. And now what you're about to start seeing is, now there's about to be a huge, even larger and louder backlash from the people. Brandon Johnson is going to be under a lot of pressure, but Brandon Johnson is so empty. He's so zoned out. You know what I'm saying? In Bizarro world, I don't even think he's going to recognize it, realize it, or even address it. You know what I'm saying? But that's just what I think. You guys let me know what you guys think. All right. We're going to check out this video here. It's another video of J.B. Pritzker. And what he's saying is that, quote unquote, Chicago hasn't moved fast enough on the migrant crisis. So what you have here is you have Brandon MPC Johnson wagging his tail and behaving like a good boy. You know what I'm saying? Bringing bones back and forth as requested. And still, he's getting shat on by his boss. Let's check it out.
Saying the city hasn't moved fast enough. Governor J.B. Pritzker announced the state is stepping in to help with the migrant crisis.
The governor says the state will chip in an additional $160 million to help get migrants off the streets as the cold weather approaches. NBC5 investigates Bennett Haberly joining us now with more. Bennett.
Allison and Stefan, this new money is intended to remove people from sleeping at police stations and help them integrate into the community, something we found isn't always happening.
We're stepping in here to try to help and accelerate this process. It isn't moving fast enough.
At Chicago Police District 18, the bottlenecks the governor says he wants to eliminate are clear. We saw some of the same people staying here who we'd met and interviewed 6 weeks ago. We also met this man who told me he's been in Chicago a week.
¿Te preocupa quedarte en la calle?
Totalmente.
He says he's grateful for the resources, but concerned about living on the street.
Es un gran problema para todos.
Winter will be very cold, he says, and we all need a place to be comfortable. The governor's announcement includes...
There's a lot of people in Chicago, from Chicago, whose families are from Chicago, that pay taxes in Chicago, and they're homeless, and they're not going to be living comfortable. So I don't know if that guy's aware of that, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. Wow.
$30 million for an intake center, $65 million for support services, and another $65 million to help create a winterized tent community that could house up to 2,000 people for as long as 6 months.
So as you guys can see here, $160 million in state assistance, giving it out like it's nothing. Nobody's being told that there's not any resources. What's actually going on is that the people who pay taxes, who should be in line for the resources, are the ones that are not getting the resources. Black Star Racer says, sounds like they need to be comfortable back where they came from. If you guys agree with Black Star Racer, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down.
What's not clear is where these services will be located, and will it be enough, as the city spends nearly $40 million a month already. Why now? Why shouldn't we have talked about this in July?
Well, the city's been operating its own methodology process.
Boom, just threw him under the bus. Right there. Was that J.B. Pritzker throwing Brandon Johnson under the bus? Well, basically, the guy that's running the city doesn't know the difference between his head and a hole in the wall. I mean, you know, I don't want to say it in those words because we're here on this interview, but, you know, I'm where I am, and down in Chicago, you know, they've been doing their own thing over there. Way to have his back, Pritzker.
Right? And it hasn't moved fast enough.
We will always be a welcoming city and a sanctuary city.
You will always be clueless. You will never have any idea what's going on. You will never present yourself as if your brainstem is attached to your brain. You know what I'm saying? Wowzers. So J.B. Pritzker just threw Brandon Johnson like completely under the bus, and Brandon Johnson's just mind gone. Mind gone. Where's his brain? There's two things missing from this video so far that I've counted. The first thing is J.B. Pritzker's neck. The second thing is Brandon Johnson's brain. Has anybody seen either of those things? If you guys have seen those things, please give us the location in the comment section.
It hasn't moved fast enough.
We will always be a welcoming city and a sanctuary city.
Mayor Brandon Johnson on Wednesday hinted at a new approach to the crisis, including a tiered 60-day limit on shelter stays. The new policy shift and the additional monies are meant to help remove people from sleeping outside of police stations and get them into temporary shelters. But even then, they could face additional challenges. A Pritzker administration official told reporters there's only enough rental assistance available for people already in the shelters. That could put people still living here facing a new problem. Something else worth noting, the state says they're working to negotiate potential fee waivers for work permits, but that's still ongoing.
So we're going to be paying more taxes, and these people are going to be paying less money to fill out their paperwork. If they take away the fee waiver, then that means that the people that process these papers, those organizations are going to be getting less revenue to pay their staff for doing it. If there's a fee waiver, there's going to be more, right? There's going to be more applications coming in, which means that the workload is going to increase. That's going to cause a problem, and probably in the long term, it's going to slow things down. Shout out to my man, Lehman Lucas. Yeah. JB Pritzker definitely looks like Shrek. Definitely looks like Shrek with a business suit. If you guys agree with Lehman Lucas, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down.
More details are expected to be released tomorrow about the city's new approach. We did reach out to the mayor's office to respond to the governor's remark that the city wasn't working fast enough, but we have not heard back.
And the cold weather is coming, as Brandt's been telling us.
It is. It'll be here before we know it. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. Like he said, he could, Kevin Samuels not only was a dating and relationship and hookup guru and OG, YouTuber, YouTube personality extraordinaire, but he also had a future as a weatherman. You know what I'm saying? Because he said winter is coming. You know what I'm saying? And as simplistic of a statement as that was, it's now November and winter is indeed coming. You know what I'm saying? So Brandon Johnson right here is looking like he's really concentrating on trying to get a turd out. Unfortunately, most of the shit that does pour out is going to come out of his mouth, and it's not going to make much sense. And I highly doubt that he's going to wipe either. But what this is him giving us the lowdown on his new migrant plan that calls for a 60-day limit on shelter stays. Now, here goes my question. How do you all feel that they plan to enforce these 60-day limits? And then what happens after the 60 days? What goes on after the 60 days? After the 60 days has occurred and your stay has run its course, where are you going next? Where are you going then after that? What happens then? Shout out to RG Titan. RG Titan said that anytime Brandon Johnson is asked a difficult question, he does the river dance. That's facts. And yet Brandon Johnson dances around every tough question that's being asked. Man, he started dancing like the Temptations. Don't ask me questions, I ain't gonna answer them. Don't ask me shit, I'ma deflect and say I don't know. I don't know. And don't be asking, I ain't got no answers for you, so leave me alone. I don't have no answers for you. You know what I'm saying? He go into a whole Temptations dance. You know what I'm saying? Dancing around them questions. Going back and forth, you know what I'm saying? Passing the mic. Look out, baby. I'm not going to answer. Look out, baby. Oh, man. Oh, man. They call this dude Dopey Robinson. You know what I'm saying? Dopey Robinson. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Motown crew, Brandon Johnson and the Dumbasses. Brandon Johnson and the 5 Dipshits. You know what I'm saying? They had the classic songs, We Don't Know. You know what I'm saying? Ask me. You can ask me anything. You can ask. You can ask. Oh, you can ask me anything. I don't know. We don't know. Oh, we don't know. We don't know. I said, please don't ask me no questions. We don't know. We don't know. Yeah, man, that's wild, man. They got a whole Motown group for these dumbasses.
Interstate limit, combined with robust case management and workforce access to move new arrivals through our system to self-sufficiency and economic stability. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here. At some point, I will acknowledge.
I've never seen, I want y'all to know, right? Okay, it's on 1.5. I was about to say, I ain't never seen Brandon Johnson move that fast before. He must have did a line of coke in the back. Okay, gotta do this one real good. You know what I'm saying? Gotta make sure I do this performance real good. Gotta make sure I got everything down on these note cards. Whew, gotta make sure I got everything good. Like, really, bro? Even old boy, they all look like, I don't know what's going on back there, but that individual with the blazer coat on without a tie is looking. This man here with the blue tie on is looking. They looking at Brandon Johnson like, go, Brandon, go. We ain't even never seen you move this fast before, bro. Man, he moving.
All of our alders that are here with us today, but I'm grateful to be joined by my colleagues. This is a great day for the city of Chicago as we pass the 2024 budget and truly begin the work of investing in our people and all of our communities. We would not be here without the hard work and commitment and the talent of our budget director, Annette Guzman, the Office of Budget Management, our comptroller, Chase Redwinkle, and our chief financial officer, Jill.
So I want you guys to answer this question for me. This is an extremely important question. Eventually, I want to be able to be somebody who is on the ground at these meetings, able to record this stuff, put clips out, you know what I'm saying? Actually have a press package, a press pass, you know what I'm saying, and be able to ask questions and get to places where the media can get to. One question that I want to know, if you guys want me to ask him, is, Mayor Johnson, why do you have that haircut? Why do you have that haircut, sir? If that's a question that you guys are interested in the answer for, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If it's not something that you're interested in, give me a thumbs down. See, because I'm actually interested in the question and in the answer to that question. Because somebody that would be his age and wear a haircut like that and have a haircut like that, it says something about him. You know what I'm saying? It says something about him. I want to know why you have the Hershey Kisses shaped haircut, bro. I want to know why. It's beyond me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he'll get mad. Next question. That's what he'll say. Next question. Thank you.
Jarowski. Today's vote is an acknowledgement of their hard work to produce a balanced budget that makes critical investments and adheres to fiscal responsibility, and does so without overburdening working families while still meeting our obligations to retirees who have dedicated their lives and provided incredible service to our city. Their work.
Shout out to Pamela. Pamela says he's a character. He's not just any character. He's a non-playable character. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely a non-playable character.
On this budget has certainly contributed to another credit rating upgrade and has earned the support of a range of institutions. We have support from Good Kids Mad City to the Civic Federation. You all know what's in this budget. We did everything I said I would do. I kept my word. 4,000 new jobs for young people. $250 million for our city's unhoused population, $100 million for violence prevention and intervention, 100 new detectives in our police department, $53 million for our city's lead service line replacement program, and we reestablished the Department of the Environment. We are expanding the Department of Housing's home repair.
Now, here goes my question. What I would like people in the comment section to answer is, how did any of that stuff that he just named off, how did any of that help the residents of Chicago directly? What it sounded like he just did was, it sounded like he named off a bunch of maintenance items that would have needed to be dealt with anyway. And what he's doing is he's attributing maintenance accomplishments to servicing his constituency, which those are not the same thing. Those are not equal things. You know what I'm saying? But that is what it seems like he's doing. And that's a very dishonest, that's a very dishonest tactic. And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 86 live viewers and we got 74 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us over 100 likes, that would be great.
Program with an additional $10 million of investment and increasing funding for the home modification program administered by our Office of People with Disabilities. We are reopening mental health clinics to create a stronger mental health safety net. And in collaboration with our leaders in the Automatic Black Caucus, we have created the first ever Office of Reentry to ensure that.
Now, here goes my question. How many people do we have in here from Chicago? Shout out to the Chi-Town people. What does this Chicago Black Caucus that Brandon Johnson is talking about, what do they do? And my question is, how effective are they? How well have they advocated for Black people since their inception? What have they done? What kind of tangible production have they had? What's their stance going on with this migrant crisis? And yeah, I think those are the only questions that I have for right now as far as that goes about that. That's my question. And shout out to Rick C. What's good with it, bro? That's my question. I think those are things that people should talk about. Who are the members of the Chicago Black Caucus? Are they all advocating for things that first, the people of Chicago, and secondly, us, think are priorities that need to be advocated for? You know what I'm saying? These are all things, if you ask me, that need to be paid attention to.
Returning residents have everything that they need to thrive and to be productive contributors to our communities. Now, as far as the newly arrivals, this budget demonstrates our—
Shout out to my man KO Kid Fit. Yo, if y'all not subscribed to my man KO Kid Fit, make sure y'all go over there and check his channel out. My man KO Kid Fit did a great stream yesterday. And yes, if y'all want to see BLR have 100 subscribers, 100 live viewers during a stream, per stream, let's try to do that going into the new year. Get that 100 live viewers and make that the pattern, and then we're gonna start aiming for the 150. Shout out to my man Cedric Peoples. What's good with it, bro? Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I feel the exact same way. You know what I'm saying? So I know y'all want that 100 viewers. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it. My man Cedric says, "What's up, Rob? Long time, bro. He doesn't deserve a pat on the back for something he should be doing anyway." I agree 100%. His work and his production should be what speaks for him. He shouldn't be sitting here trying to pander for a pat on the back or pander for acceptance. He knows that he hasn't done anything except for things that are negative, that are hurting people. You know what I'm saying? If you guys agree with Cedric, throw some flames in the chat.
Commitment to doing our part as Chicagoans, to welcome new arrivals and to address this local, state, federal, and international crises. Our budget invests $150 million into our mission to support new arrivals from the southern border. And this week, both the state and the county.
Now, we need to stop right there, and we need to ask the question, how did it become, quote unquote, the mission to do that? How did that become, quote unquote, the mission? When was that established as the mission? Is that what the voters asked for? Is that what the voters wanted? How did this mission bypass the interest of the majority of the people in these voting constituencies? How did that happen? That's my question. How did that happen?
Will announce new investments to meet the needs of this humanitarian crisis. Our plan is anchored by a three-part vision, creating a pathway for those in our care to economically and culturally contribute to Chicago and receive the next generation like the immigrant communities before them. Making sure Chicagoans.
So I want you guys to pay very close attention. What we see here is that this whole idea of quote unquote all of these communities here in the United States, quote unquote, being quote unquote immigrant quote unquote communities before them. This is a stenciled template narrative that the Democrats are rolling out and attempting to push. How many people caught that? Did you all catch that? I want y'all to listen to Brandon Johnson again and let me know how you feel about what he's saying in the comment section. This is extremely important. And also, if you ask me, this could be used by the people who are there in Chicago to say that they're being discriminated against, if you ask me. Because the people that have issues with this, the people on the South Side and all them, those are foundational Black Americans. They're not immigrants. So what it basically, what it really sounds like is that the Black people, the foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slavery, freemen, are being locked out and blocked out of opportunity because of the idea of putting the emphasis on immigrants who have been around as well as new immigrants, creating a narrative of some type of inherent benefit of being an American. You don't get that benefit if you're a Black American. And they're trying to just sweep that under the rug. And Brandon Johnson is dead wrong for doing that, because living in his skin that he's been in his entire life, he knows that that's a damn lie.
To doing our part as Chicagoans, to welcome new arrivals and to address this local, state, federal, and international crises. Our budget invests $150 million into our mission to support new arrivals from the southern border. And this week, both the state and the county will announce new investments to meet the needs of this humanitarian crisis.
Hey, we did it. Shout out to y'all. We broke 100. If y'all haven't smashed that like button, smash that like button. If y'all haven't hit the bell yet, hit the bell and subscribe. Please share the stream out. Y'all know what we about to do next. We about to try to hit that 150. Let's get it.
Our plan is anchored by a three-part vision, creating a pathway for those in our care to economically and culturally contribute to Chicago and receive the next generation like the immigrant communities before them. Making sure Chicagoans are the ones who are employed, doing the work, and providing the services as much as possible. Finally, building public infrastructure for public good so that all Chicago can benefit. Combined investments from the city, county, and state.
So that all Chicago can benefit. So now we all know what the effects of these quote unquote all can benefit programs are. I want to ask you guys, what is that going to do for the people already facing a racial wealth gap that live in Chicago? How's that going to help?
Are part of a clear and concrete plan, much of which has already been expressed. And today we are announcing the next phase of this plan. We are increasing personnel at the landing zone and staging areas to facilitate connections to other destinations for individuals who do not wish to stay in Chicago, and reunite them with family members and sponsors outside of our city. We are implementing a tiered 60-day shelter stay limit combined with robust case management and workforce access to move new arrivals through our system to self-sufficiency and economic stability.
They haven't even done that for the Black people that are there. You guys, I want you guys to make sure that you heard what Brandon Johnson just said. So they're putting these migrants, quote unquote, as he calls them, new arrivals, they're putting them on a value chain. And at the end of that value chain is going to be prosperity and sustainability. That particular value chain has never been done with Black people.
can benefit.
How can look at Brandon Johnson. Knowing that black people have never received anything like this, how can you just with a straight face sit up there and be a part of financial genocide? Because let me ask you guys a question. Is that what's going on here in the United States across all of these states? The United States has been under a program of financial genocide ever since and before Reconstruction, and they're continuing to carry it out. A racial wealth gap of 0 in 2053 is targeted financial genocide. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
And in collaboration with our leaders in the Automatic Black Caucus, we have created the first ever Office of Reentry to ensure that returning residents have everything that they need to thrive and to be productive contributors to our communities.
Making sure that they have everything they need. Now, this is what I want to ask you guys. When he says making sure that they have, quote unquote, everything that they need, what is this everything that they need? What are these things? What is he talking about? What are these things that they want to, quote unquote, equip everybody with in order for everybody to, quote unquote, thrive? And what's supposed to happen to the people who didn't get any of this? What happens to them? Because despite the fact that there's people that didn't get any of this, those people are paying tax dollars for the people who will be receiving this.
Now, as far as the newly arrivals, this budget demonstrates our commitment to doing our part as Chicagoans, to welcome new arrivals and to address this local state.
Doing our part as Chicagoans. That's our part as Chicagoans, allegedly. Now, mind you, I'm not a Chicagoan, but if there's anybody in here that's from Chicago, did you know that that was part of you doing your part to do any of that?
Federal and international crises. Our budget invests $150 million into our mission to support new arrivals from the southern border. And this week, both the state and the county will announce new investments to meet the needs of this humanitarian crisis. Our plan is anchored by a three-part vision, creating a pathway for those in our care to economically and culturally contribute to
economically and culturally contribute, a three-part plan. What's going to happen to the people who are already drowning, that are they're cannibalizing themselves? If you're a Black American out in Chicago, mathematically, if you're paying taxes and your tax dollars are used for this, the sick trick about this is that you're cannibalizing your own wealth and you are literally funding your own financial genocide. If you ask me, this announcement here by Brandon Johnson is an incentive and should be a motivation for many Black Chicagoans. As much as it can be difficult to leave home, I would leave Chicago. Because what you're doing is you're compiling onto your own wealth gap and you're contributing to the already unfair competition that you're going to be facing when dealing with these people as competing groups. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. If you disagree with what I'm saying, please point out or show me where I'm incorrect at in my assessment.
This local, state, federal, and international crises. Our budget invests $150 million into our mission to support new arrivals from the southern border. And this week, both the state and the county will announce new investments to meet the needs of this humanitarian crisis. Our plan is anchored by a three-part vision, creating a pathway for those in our care to economically and culturally contribute to Chicago and receive the next generation like the immigrant communities before them, making sure Chicagoans are the ones who are employed, doing the work, and providing the services as much as possible.
Now, mind you, that's something that we already know that Brandon Johnson is not doing, because when they did the investigative report on the companies that have been contracted to do much of the migrant work, many of them companies were not from Chicago, and they're paying them a ton of money. So what he's talking about is not even happening now, and it's definitely not going to happen in the future. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 103 live viewers, but we got 88 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us to 120 likes, that would be great. Please take a moment and do that. Also, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the bell. It's free. Share the stream. That's free too.
Finally, building public infrastructure for public good so that all Chicago can benefit. Combined investments from the city, county, and state are part of a clear and concrete plan, much of which has already been expressed. And today we are announcing the next phase of this plan. We are increasing personnel at the landing zone and staging areas to facilitate connections to other destinations for individuals who do not wish to stay in Chicago, and reunite them with family members and sponsors outside of our city.
Now, how much do you all think that that's going to cost? Because that's going to cost money too. Here's the question for you guys. How much is that going to cost? Who's going to pay for it? Now, another question that I have is, as you're sitting here watching this, as you're seeing this occur, the question that everybody should discuss, the question that everybody should tackle: what should Chicago do about the Brandon Johnson problem? Put your thoughts in the comment section.
We are implementing a tiered 60-day shelter stay limit combined with robust case management and workforce access to move new arrivals through our system to self-sufficiency and economic stability. And we are implementing regulatory tools starting this weekend to cite and fine bus companies that disregard our curfews, landing zone locations, and loading and unloading rules. Above all, we are treating our new neighbors with compassion, because it is the humane thing to do. Because with support, they can become productive members of our communities, contributing to our economy, our culture, and our society. We are being fiscally responsible and respecting the taxpayers of Chicago. I sincerely thank city leaders, staff partners, volunteers, and everyday Chicagoans who have stepped up in this very crucial mission that we all are enduring. Finally, in closing, the smart choices we made with this budget, which acknowledge the need and responsibility for other governments to invest in this crisis, has allowed us to keep our promise. A promise to never sacrifice the needs of Chicagoans in support of those who wish to become Chicagoans. I repeat, a promise to never sacrifice the needs of Chicagoans in support of those who wish to become Chicagoans.
What does that even mean? What he said right there. Because the thing that's interesting, right, is that he said that that's not something that they're going to do, but that's actually what's going on. That's why all of the people in Chicago are so upset. So now the question that you then have to ask is, how do you sit there and say this with a straight face, knowing that you're being completely intellectually dishonest? You're being completely intellectually dishonest. You're not telling the truth about this situation at all. Listen to this part again.
Through our system to self-sufficiency and economic stability. And we are implementing regulatory tools starting this weekend to cite and fine bus companies that disregard our curfews, landing zone locations, and loading and unloading rules. Above all, we are treating our new neighbors with compassion, because it is the humane thing to do. Because with support, they can become productive members of our communities, contributing to our economy, our culture, and our society. We are being fiscally responsible and respecting the taxpayers of Chicago.
Now, let me ask you all a question. He says that they're being fiscally responsible and respecting the taxpayers of Chicago. Have you looked at any of those town hall meetings? Do the people at those town hall meetings seem like they just feel like they've been respected and treated so well by the Chicago government? When we're looking at all of these expenditures, all of the costs that are incurred for putting up all of these new buildings, putting up all these new shelters, does that seem fiscally responsible? What I find interesting about this particular situation is that as much as Brandon Johnson is sitting here and tooting his own horn and actually literally, shout out to my man Grind and Motivate, tooting it up also, you know what I'm saying? While he's doing all of that, what he's saying here as far as stroking his own ego is not really what it sounded like when JB Pritzker was talking about what was going on in Chicago, was it? Kind of sounded like a different tune.
I sincerely thank city leaders, staff partners, volunteers, and
Ducats. Shout out to my man AB. AB says, I'm not buying what he's selling. Now, here's my question. We got 115 people in here. How many people are buying what Brandon Johnson is selling? Now, I don't know if you all are subscribed to TD Hip Hop Media or not. Shout out to my man, TD Hip Hop Media. But TD Hip Hop Media did a video recently about Brandon Johnson. It was, I want to say, maybe like 4 or 5 live streams ago. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but in that video, he revealed to his audience that there is not a way to recall the mayor in the city of Chicago. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure that there's no way to recall the mayor in Chicago. Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat and some flames for my man AB Promotion with the $1.99 super chat. He's the first and second stream sponsor. Shout out to him. And shout out to my man Grind and Motivate. Tooting it up with that bussy cut. Facts. Look at that. His head with that haircut is shaped like a Phillips screwdriver. Look like you could just turn him upside down and put him on the end of a drill and get some screws out of the door and put in a new doorknob and do whatever you need to do. He looks like a power tool attachment. Ridiculous.
And everyday Chicagoans who have stepped up in this very crucial mission that we all are enduring. Finally, in closing, the smart choices we made with this budget, which acknowledge the need and responsibility for other
He said that there were smart choices that were made with that budget. That's not true. Just for the record, so that everybody is clear, Brandon Johnson has never done anything smart in his entire life. And the only thing that he ever does that anybody enjoys is when he's quiet. So just so everybody's clear on the facts about that.
Governments to invest in this crisis has allowed us to keep our promise. A promise to never sacrifice the needs of Chicagoans in support of those who wish to become Chicagoans. I repeat, a promise to never sacrifice the needs of Chicagoans in support of those who wish to become Chicagoans.
Now, this is a part right here. Anybody that's a content creator, if you have an issue with Brandon Johnson, this right here is where you exploit Brandon Johnson. Would you all agree? This part right here is Brandon Johnson's kryptonite, because you can directly, with multiple articles, clips, tweets, and everything, debunk this lie. This is a lie. Shout out to my man, MC Fact. MC Fact says HB 3511 2021-22 102nd General Assembly. This bill is about to recall. Okay. Is he telling the truth right here? This is a very important statement. This right here is the statement that should completely eliminate Brandon Johnson from politics. I want you all to listen very closely. Stop what you're doing. Put your phone down. Concentrate. Listen to this.
Regulatory tools starting this weekend to cite and fine bus companies that disregard our curfews, landing zone locations, and loading and unloading rules. Above all, we are treating our new neighbors with compassion because it is the humane thing to do. Because with support, they can become productive members of our communities, contributing to our economy, our culture, and our society. We are being fiscally responsible and respecting the taxpayers of Chicago.
We're being fiscally responsible and respecting the taxpayers of Chicago. Now, we're going to follow up. We're going to be watching these town hall meetings. We're going to try to catch all of them, even the old ones. I need you guys, if you're not part of the Discord, to make sure that you guys hit that community or hit that pinned comment with the link to the Discord. Join the Discord. Follow me on my other social media. Follow my other YouTube channels. Make sure if you guys see town hall meetings or new announcements from Brandon Johnson or JB Pritzker that you tag me in it so that we could get it up on the board, look at it, and assess it. Because he said that he's respecting the taxpayers. Now, what I want to know from you guys is, from everything that you've seen, everything that you've heard, everything that you know about this migrant crisis, are the taxpayers first being respected? Second, are taxpayers being prioritized? That's my question for you guys. Let me know.
I sincerely thank city leaders, staff partners, volunteers, and everyday Chicagoans who have stepped up in this very crucial mission that we all are enduring. Finally, in closing, the smart choices we made with this budget, which acknowledge the need and responsibility for other governments to invest in this crisis, has allowed us to keep our promise. A promise to never sacrifice the needs of Chicagoans in support of those who wish to become Chicagoans.
But that's what's going on, though. I want to make sure you guys heard that part. He's saying that he's not sacrificing the needs of Chicagoans for those who want to become Chicagoans, but that's exactly what's going on. And you're sitting there saying that you're not doing that. That's why everybody's so heated at them damn town hall meetings.
Volunteers and everyday Chicagoans who have stepped up in this very crucial mission that we all are enduring. Finally, in closing, the smart choices we made with this budget, which acknowledge the need and responsibility for other governments to invest in this crisis, has allowed us to keep our promise. A promise to never sacrifice the needs of Chicagoans in support of those who wish to become Chicagoans. I repeat, a promise to never sacrifice the needs of Chicagoans in support of those who wish to become Chicagoans. Chicago, I heard you and I hear you. I want to thank the mayor's office, the Office of Budget Management, city department leadership and staff, alderpersons and their staff, and everyone who helped build the people's budget. In this budget and every budget, we will never forget that behind every figure and dollar amount.
Now, shout out to Deneen, right? Because Deneen says the Democrats are so good at gaslighting. I agree. If you guys agree that the Democrats are good at gaslighting, give me a thumbs down. Or I'm sorry, give me a thumbs up. Now, for everybody that gives a thumbs up and agrees that Democrats are good at gaslighting, at the moment that you realize that the Democrats are good at gaslighting, the moment you wake up to that reality is the moment that you wake up to the reality that it is now a burden upon you to make sure that you expose them to people that you care about so that they don't fall victim to that gaslighting as well. Would you guys agree? Now, Brandon Johnson is sitting up here talking about quote unquote shared duty and duties that we all have. Now, my question is, I just mentioned the shared duty. Do you all agree that that is indeed a duty that we all have? If you guys agree with the duty that I feel that we all have, give me some flames in the chat. If you don't, give me a thumbs down or an angry face and let me know why I'm wrong.
There is a real life being affected. And
shout out to Hurricane. What's good with it, bro?
This work is important, and that is why we will do it together. We will do this work together, Chicago. We'll forge ahead, collaborate.
It doesn't look like that's what's happening, though. This is Brandon Johnson living in bizarro world. Brandon Johnson is not attached to reality. He is not perceiving an accurate picture of what is going on in physical reality. In physical reality, Chicago is united, not in helping any immigrants or migrants, but they're united in misery and being disgruntled because they're not being advocated for and their tax dollars are being wasted on things that they had no plans for them being wasted for. That's the reality. You know what I'm saying?
For a better, stronger, and a safer Chicago. Thank you all very much. I will now take your questions.
Hey, man. So you're, sorry, I just heard it, but you're saying.
I just want y'all to pay very close attention. Look at that. Look at that face. Look at that. Now, here go my question. How lost does Brandon Johnson look? I mean, he looks like he just clueless. He don't know what the hell's going on. You know what I'm saying? BJ is sitting up there looking like he don't have no idea whether he's coming or going, whether he's fasting or slowing. He's just lost. You know what I'm saying?
You're announcing a new step in the migrant response, and this is going to happen at like the point of entry, the arrival point. Is this something that's going to be led by the city or the state? Is the funding coming from this budget that we just approved, or is it coming from the state? Can you share more details?
Yes, it's all of the above, and we will have more.
Hey, what's up with that face, though?
And this is going to happen at like the point of entry, the arrival point. Is this something that's going to be led by the city or the state? Is the funding coming from this budget that we just approved, or is it coming from the state?
Hey, what's up with your boy Brandon Johnson's face, man? Hold on real quick, man. What's up with that?
You're saying you're announcing.
There's a bug. Did a bug fly in his nose or something? Did a bug fly in his nose or something? Look. Like something, you know how sometimes like a hair from inside of your nose will drop down to a real sentence. You like doing like that.
Announcing a new step in the migrant response, and this is going to happen at like the point of entry, the arrival point. Is this something that's going to be led by the city or the state? Is the funding coming from this budget that we just approved, or is it coming from the state?
Oh, Brandon, I know your pain, man. I know your pain. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. Look at him, man. He looking mean right there. You know what I'm saying?
Can you share more details?
Yes, it's all of the above, and we will have more details. We will make ourselves available Friday for a budget briefing. And yes, we will have a loading. I'm sorry, we will have an entry point, a landing zone.
Oh man, Carlton Wade said he's either on he's either on Sherm or MK Ultra. Oh man. Damn, you remember when they used to call people Sherm heads back in the day? I bet you that's what he asked for when he got his haircut. Hey, what's up, Mr. Johnson? What kind of cuts you want today? Yeah, what's up? You can take a little bit off the sides and just as far as the top goes, give me the Sherm head. Oh man, that's terrible.
I am grateful that the county and the state have heard our advocacy and their commitment to fund this mission. My plan has always been very clear. to create.
He didn't just look like, that's not the I just smelled a fart face, Deneen. He looked like that face that he made. That was the I'm stuck in the elevator with your big funky ass and you just farted face involuntary movement. Would you guys agree? He was in the elevator and somebody did one of them farts like that. He did that face where it like one nostril flared up and his chin went all the way down. One nostril flared up real big and his chin went all the way down to the floor and came back up. Like that New York policeman's car when he hops in it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, I got to agree. If you guys agree with MC Fact, give me a thumbs up. MC Fact says, Rob, he knows exactly what he's doing. That's the face of a paid-off shill who sold his soul. That's the look of a soulless person. He knows he's done wrong. Yeah, I agree. You know that he's a soulless person. See, how many of y'all seen Men in Black? Do y'all remember when that alien pulled the skin off of that farmer and he was wearing the Edgar suit? This is a Brandon Johnson suit. That's why I call him an NPC. He's wearing a Edgar suit. Sugar and butter biscuits. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Edgar. What do you want? Sugar and butter biscuits. You know what I'm saying? Then he doing his face all kind of weird ways. You remember Edgar on Men in Black? He did his face all weird like that too. Edgar on Men in Black did his face just like that. He did his face all weird. At first, you know what I'm saying, he had a straight face, and then he did his face looking all weird, like some Jim Carrey facial expressions, and then he went back. You know what I'm saying? Looking weird. Involuntary facial movements. He's looking like he was getting electrocuted somewhere.
A system of care in a responsible way, while of course continuously investing in the people of Chicago.
And then this budget, it's going to rely on clawing back some money from CPS to help pay for their portion of the MBEAF pension payment. Is that, that's something I don't believe you supported before you became mayor. What has changed? Why do you think it's now appropriate for CPS to pay a large portion of that payment?
Well, historically, there has been a level of coordination that, quite frankly, has had some stall.
Has some stall, just like how you did when it came to answering that question. He said, like he was in the middle of thinking. He was like, well, I'm going to answer this question. And then he just came back to life just now. We need to take a poll on this. Carlton Way asked the question, are you saying BJ is an intergalactic bro hiding in black skin? He might be a brother from another planet, and I ain't talking about the movie. He might be a brother from another planet, and I'm definitely not talking about the movie. If y'all think that Brandon Johnson is a brother from another planet, put a UFO emoji in the chat. If y'all don't think that he is, you know what I'm saying, and give me a thumbs down. I think he could be. It's crazy. I mean, it's like they got a remote control somewhere and they just hit the on button and he just goes. I bet you they put him in a closet when he's done with all this. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
An administration ago. And so in this instance, my office and my budget team worked with CPS to engage them in a more collaborative approach for them to understand what our entire responsibility has to be as a city. As you know, and as all of you know, I have a strong commitment to make sure that we are protecting the retirement security of those who do the work for the people of Chicago. And my commitment still stands.
Hi, Mayor. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. I have a question about the police budget. I know that the expansion of CPD's Victim Service Unit aligns with your campaign pledge to increase support for victims and survivors of gender-based violence, but gender-based violence advocates are asking that you redistribute dollars for these positions with CPD to already existing community orgs. So my question is, have you talked with gender-based violence advocates?
See, he got a reaction. See, he's allergic to being asked about money. His head start itching. He start making all kind of weird faces anytime he's asked about money. Like he starts short-circuiting something. Like, oh shit, they don't ask me about money. Look at this. I ain't never seen nothing like this before. As soon as he start asking about money, His one eyebrow go up, the other ear starts to wiggle, the lip go down. Like, oh, what's wrong with you? Look like his face finna start swelling up like he just ate some shrimp and didn't know he was allergic to it or something. As soon as he started talking about money, like, man, that's crazy. Could you imagine growing up in a household with him, being his wife or being one of his kids? Hey, dad, it's time for allowance. He started making all kind of weird faces and shit. You gonna pay my tuition this month, dad? You know what I'm saying? He like a damn demon jumped into him or something. Like, never mind. I go get another job, I guess. Look at this. He needs an exorcism.
Sure that we are protecting the retirement security of those who do the work for the people of Chicago. And my commitment still stands.
Hi, Mayor. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. I have a question about the police budget. I know that the expansion of CPD's Victim Service Unit aligns with your campaign pledge to increase.
As soon as she said budget, he went from smiling to he's breathing hard, mad dogging. Man, he is mad dogging. If looks could kill, look at it. See, this is where the smile transitions into the mad dog, right here at this moment here. See, right there. He's hey, hi, ma'am. How you doing? Soon as the word budget is mentioned,
it's now appropriated for CPS to pay a large portion of that payment.
Well, historically, there has been a level of coordination that, quite frankly, has had some stall an administration ago. And so in this instance, my office and my budget team worked with CPS to engage them in a more collaborative approach for them to understand what our entire responsibility has to be as a city. You know, as you know, and as all of you know, I have a strong commitment to make sure that—
shout out to y'all, man, for getting us to 123 people in the chat. That's what's up. Now we got to get to 150. Let's get it. If y'all haven't smashed that like button, make sure y'all smash that like button. Also, if y'all haven't hit the bell, make sure that y'all hit the bell. And also, please make sure that you guys share the stream to your social media. We got 122 people watching and we got 107 likes. Let's try to get that to 120 likes.
That we are protecting the retirement security of those who do the work for the people of Chicago. And my commitment still stands.
Hi, Mayor. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. I have a question about the police budget. I know that the expansion of CPD's Victim Service Unit aligns with your campaign pledge to increase support for victims and survivors of gender-based violence, but gender-based violence advocates are asking that you redistribute dollars for these positions with CPD to already existing community orgs. So my question is, have you talked with gender-based violence advocates about these positions within CPD, and will you consider their ask that you redistribute monies for those positions to already existing organizations?
Well, you know, look, it's been, you know, quite the journey to get to this point to actually have, you know, a budget that is responsive to what community members have asked. And
man, bro, that's what I was saying. I didn't even want to address that, man. I got to ask y'all. AB Promotion said, is it me or the handsome boy in the back looks tough? Man, listen. Jacqueline Chan. You know what I'm saying? Crouching tiger. You know what I'm saying? Surgically removed dragon is the situation that we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
You know, individuals who have experienced a tremendous amount of harm through gender-based violence, that the important ask in this moment was to make sure that we are investing in providing real services and support. Now, you know, whether or not these positions, you know, could exist outside the realm of what has been already appropriated, these are ongoing conversations. In the meantime, or the immediate future, I'm grateful that we have a superintendent like Superintendent Snelling, who recognizes that we have to do a much better job of providing aid and support for victims of violence, particularly gender-based violence.
So he's admitting that for this particular program that he's talking about, these women that end up being victims of domestic violence or gender-based violence, I should say, are not getting the funding that they need from the city of Chicago. It's now, remember earlier in this interview, or earlier in this town hall meeting, or whatever this was, Brandon Johnson said that one thing that was going on was that taxpayers of Chicago are not being deprioritized. But as we're listening, the first group of questions that he's being asked about this gender-based violence program, they've already been deprioritized. They're not getting enough funding. You know what I'm saying?
So the conversations are ongoing. My commitment over the next 3.5 years in my first term and beyond is to continue to make a budget that is available for the people of Chicago and to work even harder to make sure that everyone's wish becomes a part of the regular form of how we move forward in terms of budgeting.
Hi, Mayor. Can you expand on what the 60-day tiered shelter limit stay you just mentioned would entail? Does that mean asylum seekers will be asked to leave city shelters if they're there past that date, or?
Well, what it does is it provides us with a couple of opportunities. One, on the front end, we have to make sure that we are setting up these newly arrivals with the best opportunity to be successful. On the back end, part of the investments that the state will be providing is to expand a more expedited process for them to be resettled.
So now I want you guys to pay attention to how he answers this, right? Because he answers this with not answering it. He volunteered and said that this sets us up with a couple opportunities. So as he says this, I'm listening to him like, okay, I'm trying to hear what you're talking about as far as what kind of opportunities this allegedly offers. And he literally gives no answer about, quote unquote, what kind of opportunities that this offers. This does, and the reason why he doesn't give any kind of answer to that is because this doesn't offer any opportunities. This doesn't do anything. All this does is creates a situation of where the overcrowding just trades places from these crowded shelters to the crowded streets without moving the people out of the way, and taxpayer dollars are still being spent and wasted. So it's not doing anything. I gotta agree. If you guys agree with Hurricane IQ, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, then give me a thumbs down. He's not answering about the opportunities because there is no plan. And if you ask me, that's very that's evident. I agree 100%, bro.
Exist outside the realm of what has been already appropriated. These are ongoing conversations. In the meantime, or the immediate future, I'm grateful that we have a superintendent like Superintendent Snelling, who recognizes that we have to do a much better job of providing aid and support for victims of violence, particularly gender-based violence. So the conversations are ongoing. My commitment over the next 3.5 years in my first term and beyond is to continue to make a budget that is available for the people of Chicago and to work even harder to make sure that everyone's wish becomes a part of the regular form of how we move forward in terms of budgeting.
Hi, Mayor. Can you expand on what the 60-day tiered shelter limit stay you just mentioned would entail? Does that mean asylum seekers will be asked to leave city shelters if they're there past that date, or?
Well, what it does is it provides us with a couple of opportunities. One, on the front end, we have to make sure that we are setting up these newly arrivals with the best opportunity to be successful. On the back end, part of the investments that the state will be providing is to expand a more expedited process for them to be resettled. And here's why this is important. When we look at how the Ukrainian—
Shout out to Jacoby. I'm telling you, Brandon Johnson never knows what he's talking about. All the time, his entire speeches or anything that he ever says are always just one big run-on sentence that never goes anywhere. I don't know why it's called a run-on sentence. It should be called a run-off sentence, because he just runs off and starts talking about something that makes absolutely no sense. And that's a fact. If you guys agree with Pamela X, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Your first Black woman Supreme Court justice doesn't know what a quote unquote woman is. Go figure the agenda. Now, here's my thing, right? How does she not know what a woman is? But she knows that she's the first Black woman Supreme Court judge. So she does know what that is. So my thing would be, if I was them and I was asking her these questions during the Senate hearing that she was in, you know what I'm saying, to be sworn in as the Supreme Court justice, I would have asked her, what is a Black female Supreme Court justice? That's what I would have asked her that question. Now, my question for you all is, how do you all think that she would have answered that question? Because she knows that she's the first Black Supreme Court justice, female Supreme Court justice. So I would have asked her, what's the Black female Supreme Court justice? What is that? Define that for me, please. Now, what I need to know from you guys is how would she have dealt with that question?
Families were received in the city of Chicago. Those who were seeking refuge here, they had a community that already existed to receive them. We don't have that type of structure for Venezuelans. And so creating a more expedited
Wait a minute,
process
man.
to
Hold
get
on.
them
What
on
is he talking about? Who had a community here to receive them? We had racist white people to receive us. What is he talking about? What is this dude talking about? Hold on real quick.
appropriated. These are ongoing conversations. In the meantime, or the immediate future, I'm grateful that we have a superintendent like Superintendent Snelling, who recognizes that we have to do a much better job of providing aid and support for victims of violence, particularly gender-based violence. So the conversations are ongoing. My commitment over the next 3.5 years in my first term and beyond is to continue to make a budget that is available for the people of Chicago and to work even harder to make sure that everyone's wish becomes a part of the regular form of how we move forward in terms of budgeting.
What is everyone's wish? Let me ask you guys a question. What is the what to the people from Chicago or the people who are from New York or people from any area where this kind of stuff is going on? What are your wishes for your local or state budget? Shout out to Black Spider. Black Spider says a skunk. That's what he reminds me of. And they got the same hairdos. His name is Peppy Doo Doo. Peppy Doo Doo.
Hi, Mayor. Can you expand on what the 60-day tiered shelter limit stay you just mentioned would entail? Does that mean asylum seekers will be asked to leave city shelters if they're there past that date, or?
Well, what it does is it provides us with a couple of opportunities. One, on the front end, we have to make sure that we are setting up these newly arrivals with the best opportunity to be successful. On the back end, part of the investments that the state will be providing is to expand a more expedited process for them to be resettled. And here's why this is important. When we look at how—
So what is so now here's my question. What is the process for them to be resettled, and where will they be being resettled at? Because if those things aren't part of the plan, if we don't know what's going on with that, Peppy was smooth with it, but he was a little bit of a creep, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, that whatever the thing was that he used to be trying to holler at, it wasn't even a squirrel. It was a cat, I think. It was always trying to run from him. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Oh yeah, so you just playing hard to get." You know what I'm saying? The cat would be like, "Ow!" You know what I'm saying? Oh man, Pepe Le Pew had it all wrong, man. You can't get down like Pepe Le Pew nowadays. You'll be in jail. You know what I'm saying? You will be in jail. Try some of that Pepe Le Pew type game now. You'll be on TikTok somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
The Ukrainian families were received in the city of Chicago. Those who were seeking refuge here, they had a community that already existed to receive them. We don't
okay. So he said that they're Ukrainians. Now, who was it? So, I forget who talked about the Ukrainians. There was some content creator that talked about the large influx of Ukrainians that quietly came to Chicago. Now, what I find interesting here is that Brandon Johnson reveals that they, quote unquote, had a community to receive them. Now, here's my question. You mean to tell me that these Spanish-speaking immigrants don't have a community to receive them in Chicago? Right. If you got, I mean, like, facts. You're absolutely right, Kip Doctor. So now, I mean, like, what, right. What is he saying here? He's making false equivalencies.
Is it provides us with a couple of opportunities. One, on the front end, we have to make sure that we are setting up these newly arrivals with the best opportunity to be successful. On the back end, part of the investments that the state will be providing is to expand a more expedited process for them to be resettled. And here's why this is important. You know, when we look at how the Ukrainian families were received in the city of Chicago, those who were seeking refuge here, they had a community that already existed to receive them. We don't have that type of structure for Venezuelans. And so creating
he says that we don't have that kind of structure for Venezuelans. That's interesting. Right. The Latino community in Chicago is rivaling the size of the Black community in Chicago, isn't it?
more expedited process to get them on the pathway to work allows for them to become contributors to Chicago. So making those investments on the front end, we have to make with the resources that we are providing, we have to make sure that we're setting these families and these individuals up to actually contribute so that we can actually have a return on that investment. These individuals who are here and who are prepared and willing and have the qualifications to work, the expansion of services that we would deliver to help expedite it is the balanced approach that I believe that the people of Chicago have been asking for. And that's what
Now, I got a question, right? Because all this focus, that people have been talking about Venezuelans, and they gave the Venezuelans a temporary protective status and all of that. I did a video, and I might have to do another video about this, but there's a video, and it's now on members only because, you know, my streams only stay up, and then they go on members only after a couple of days. But there was a stream that I did, and I clipped a particular part of it where they talked about the Latin American prison crisis. Venezuela is one of the places in Latin America that has had a huge issue with their prison system. Shout out to Vintage Clothing Apparel. What's good with it? How many people are aware of the prison system issue in Venezuela? If you're familiar with that, give me a thumbs up. If you're not familiar with that, give me a thumbs down. If you're not familiar with that, I would advise people to, you know, if you're a member, watch that video. If you're not a member, become a member and watch that video, or look up some articles about the Latin American prison crisis. And you can start connecting dots on your own.
Plan of the extension of this plan offers. So the 60-day notification, again, with the expanded services on the back end, that will provide these families with a quicker and a faster way to be able to contribute to our economy. That is the purpose of this extension of our plan, and that's the plan that we're going to administer.
I'm Joe Barrett with the Wall Street Journal. Congratulations on your first budget.
Thank you.
Got that one down. Good job.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to ask about the sanctuary city controversy that's been going on. I mean, we've had a couple of meetings that were interrupted today. You had cheers from the stands. What's the next step with that? I mean, is there a chance that there'll be something on the ballot about removing our sanctuary city status, or you know, and when is this going to come up again before the council?
Well, look, this is an international crisis. You know, global population shift is not just happening in the city of Chicago. The European Union is experiencing this right now. The number of individuals.
So I want you guys to pay attention to how he just completely didn't answer the question. Every time he does not answer a question, I want you guys to say something about it in the comment section. He didn't answer that guy's question at all. Now, my question for you guys is, why would he not answer that simple question? That was a very simple, direct question. Why would he not answer it? Yeah, I got to agree 100%. If you guys agree with RG Titan, that's a typical response from a Democrat politician. Give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. That's facts.
So this 60-day notification, again, with the expanded services on the back end, that will provide these families with a quicker and a faster way to be able to contribute to our economy. That is the purpose of this extension of our plan, and that's the plan that we're going to administer.
I'm I'm Joe Barrett with the Wall Street Journal. Congratulations on your first budget.
Thank you.
Got that one down. Good job.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to ask about the sanctuary city controversy that's been going on. I mean, we've had a couple of meetings that were interrupted today. You had cheers from the stands. What's the next step with that? I mean,
Ducats.
Is there a chance that there'll be something on the ballot about removing our sanctuary city status, or and when is this going to come up again before the council?
Well, look, this is an international crisis. Global population shift is not just happening in the city of Chicago. The European Union is experiencing this right now. The number of individuals from the continent of Africa that are being displaced as a result of just poor policy and environmental shifts. The entire
what percentage of the immigrants in this migrant crisis are African? Why is he for one, do you notice how he's bringing up the only community that he said needed to be accommodated was the Venezuelan one, right? That's the only community that he said need to be accommodated. However, when answering individual questions about these different migrant communities, he's bringing up arbitrary migrant groups. Now he's bringing up Africans. Like, bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, ducats. Shout out to my man, Mr. King, for becoming a YouTube member. Mr. King is also a YouTube member of Reacts, which, speaking of Reacts, make sure you guys don't move after this stream. It'll take you right into the premiere window for the Reacts podcast is going on later on. And we only need about, I want to say we only need like 92 people to get to 1,000 over there. So if everybody that's watching this goes over there and everybody subscribes, we'd be at our 1,000. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys show some love to Mr. King. Also, being a member is probably the least expensive thing that you will do today. We're going to ask you tomorrow, Mr. King, was this the least expensive thing that you did today, was become a member of Black Light Revelations? It is the least expensive thing that you will do, but it will probably give you the best value for that little bit of chump change that you spend. So hit that membership link and become a member. You know what I'm saying? You get access to all the streams and members only live streams.
Our globe is experiencing this. This is not just a Chicago dynamic.
Shout out to B1 First. What's good with it, bro?
What our other major cities are experiencing this crisis as well. 70%, I believe, of asylum seekers in New York are from the continent of Africa.
There it is.
So the failure of our federal
he said, "Wait, whoa,
to respond to the crisis a decade."
Oh, Thundercats. Oh, wait a minute. He said 70%.
Our sanctuary city status, or
70% of the migrants in New York City are African. That's what he just said. I don't think that those statistics are accurate at all. I don't know where he got that from or where he would have got that from, but I do not believe that that is an accurate statistic. 70% are African? Really, fam? I don't think so. But one thing that I do think is that I'm very thankful for Denise Scales dropping those 5 ducats on the channel. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat and show her some love. Definitely appreciate the $5 super sticker. Yeah, he kind of just threw that one out there because I don't think that's an accurate statistic at all. As we're doing this content, we're going to have to pay attention to the percentage of African immigrants in New York City and fact check this.
And when is this going to come up again before the council?
Well, look, this is an international crisis. Global population shift is not just happening in the city of Chicago. The European Union is experiencing this right now. The number of individuals from the continent of Africa that are being displaced as a result of just poor policy and environmental shifts. The entire globe is experiencing this. This is not just a Chicago dynamic. And quite frankly, what our other major cities are experiencing this crisis as well. 70%, I believe, of asylum seekers in New York are from the continent of Africa.
70% of the asylum seekers in New York, allegedly, according to him, are from New York City. %. I don't believe that. Anybody that gets to this point on the replay, please fact check that and put the link to the information that you find in the comment section. But I just want to take a consensus. If you agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you don't agree with that, give me a thumbs down. I don't think that that's accurate at all.
You know, and so the failure of our federal government to respond to the crisis a decade ago, now you're seeing the full manifestation of it.
Hold on, I'm
And so I
running
just
again
wanna-
for you, B1. Hold on.
Union is experiencing this right now. The number of individuals from the continent of Africa that are being displaced as a result of just poor policy and environmental shifts. The entire globe is experiencing this. This is not just a Chicago dynamic. And quite frankly, you know, what our other major cities are experiencing this crisis as well. 70%, I believe, of asylum seekers in New York are from the continent of Africa. You know, and so the failure of our federal government to respond to the crisis a decade ago, now you're seeing the full manifestation of it. And so I just want to make sure that we are providing the full context, that this is not confined to the city of Chicago. As far as next steps, you know, the office behind me, Anton Cermak's desk is there. We don't talk a lot about Anton Cermak. He technically was another West Sider, technically. Yeah, exactly. And when he ran for mayor in 1933, I believe, there was a strong anti-immigrant sentiment that existed in the city of Chicago. It was quite harsh. In fact, there was not only anti-immigrant sentiment, there was an anti-black sentiment.
Look at him trying to do the black and immigrant thing. And then you see how he put his tongue in it, and like the way that he did that, like, nah, bro, you ain't slick. You ain't slick. We got you. We see you. Shout out to Shamika Gray. She said that fool looked like a black Jimmy Neutron. If y'all feel that he looks like a black Jimmy Neutron, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't, give me a thumbs down. I think she might have nailed it. Little peanut-headed ass.
This is not confined to the city of Chicago. As far as next steps, you know, the office behind me, Anton Cermak's desk is there. We don't talk a lot about Anton Cermak. He technically was another West Sider, technically. Yeah, exactly. And when he ran for mayor in 1933, I believe, there was a strong anti-immigrant sentiment that existed in the city of Chicago. It was quite harsh. In fact, there was not only anti-immigrant sentiment, there was an anti-black sentiment. Anton Cermak could.
What did that got to do with it? Are you going to talk about the anti-black sentiment that the immigrants have and had? You going to talk about that? Like, what do you think that people who move like this, these kind of snakes, these serpents, what do they think that the end game to all of this nonsense and all of this foolery and all of this just treachery that they engage in? What is the end game? What do they think is going to be the profiteering out of that? We all know that there's no retirement plan for this kind of nonsense, for being a WS tool. You're going to get broken at the end of your use. Not only are you going to get broken by WS at the end of your use, you're not going to have any community to fall into because of how you just completely betrayed people. You're going to be shunned. You're discredited completely. What do people feel that they can get out of this? Now, shout out to Deneen. Deneen says that a congressional seat is what a lot of people think that they can get out of that. Yeah, I think that people may think that they can get that, but a lot of people don't ever end up getting that. A lot of people end up getting a seat in a federal prison, like where Mayor Eric Adams might end up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I gotta agree with Carlton. BJ trying to get his ducats before they throw him away. That's big facts.
Convinced black political leadership at the time to leave the Republican Party and vote as Democrats on a pro-immigrant, pro-black liberation platform. So a multicultural, intergenerational movement of black, brown, and white folks calling for the city of Chicago to live up to its promise.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Politicians engage in serpent culture, bro. These folks have no soul. They don't care for a future. Just clout for now. Immediate gratification. They don't have any long-term vision. They don't have any long-term strategy. They don't have any long-term goal, and they think that they can sustain long-term sustainability based on a WS generated paycheck. And we all know that that's not the case. It's not going to happen like that. The world isn't engineered or set up to be compatible with that type of revenue model. You know what I'm saying? And as many times as people have seen it go bad, it just seems like it's just not enough. They just don't care. They just don't care. They would rather take whatever short-term riches and fame and ease that they can get at the moment and self-sacrifice their life and self-worth and integrity to be crushed in the end. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't think that any of us, I think that most of us in here are the kind of people that do not rationalize this kind of nonsense that Brandon Johnson is doing. This is nothing but Democrat shill babble. Shout out to MC Facts. I got you. This is Democrat shill babble. You know what I'm saying?
Of individuals from the continent of Africa that are being displaced as a result of just poor policy and environmental shifts. The entire globe is experiencing this. This is not just a Chicago dynamic. And quite frankly, what our other major cities are experiencing this crisis as well. 70%, I believe, of asylum seekers in New York are from the continent of Africa. And so the failure of our federal government to respond to the crisis a decade ago, now you're seeing the full manifestation of it. And so I just want to make sure that we are providing the full context, that this is not confined to the city of Chicago. As far as next steps, the office behind me, Anton Cermak's desk is there. We don't talk a lot about Anton Cermak. He technically was another West Sider, technically. Yeah, exactly. And when he ran for mayor in 1933, I believe, there was a strong anti-immigrant sentiment that existed in the city of Chicago. It was quite harsh. In fact, there was not only anti-immigrant sentiment, there was an anti-Black sentiment. Anton Cermak convinced Black political leadership at the time to leave the Republican Party and vote as Democrats on a pro-immigrant, pro-Black liberation platform.
There you go, MC Fact. Now, I want to know what you all think about that. What do you all think about voters back in the day being convinced of that, and how legitimate do you think that something is like that? Yeah, I got it. And that's what the Democrats are notorious for. And that's what the shills that they get to work for them are experts at. Andretti Too Cold said he's hurting his own people for another group of people. It's really sad. Now, here's the question. How often do we see that? Because I hate to say this, but this is commonplace. We can basically fire up a stream about damn near any politician that's employed, any Black politician that's employed right now, and we can literally say the comment section will look the exact same thing, because these people are behaving in the exact same way, getting the exact same kind of critiques. You know what I'm saying? So now my question is, how do we, for one, stop the production of people like this? And for two, if these kind of people end up getting produced and they slip through the cracks, how do we block them out of office? How do we block media access from these kind of people? Because the media wants to utilize these kind of people as, oh, well, these are your people. They're speaking for you. They're speaking for you. We gave you a Black mayor. What do you mean? What do you mean you gave us a Black mayor? You gave us a Black president. What are you talking about?
So a multicultural, intergenerational movement of Black, brown, and white folks calling for the city of Chicago to live up to its promise. We've been here before. If we can survive it in the 30s, we'll survive it today.
Hey. He didn't address anything that he was asked. Remember, I don't know how we got to where I don't know how we got to the stuff that he just talked about. But the question that he was asked was, what's going to happen when the sanctuary city status is up for vote? Do you guys remember that? I bet you guys don't even remember that. That was the original question. The original question that led to all of this babble that ended just now was, what's going to happen with the sanctuary city status going up for vote? And then somehow we got to what we just heard.
Mayor, how's my favorite shortstop doing? So last week you kind of completed a progressive legislative hat trick. You have Bring Home Chicago, you have PTO, you have One Fair Wage. At the same time, the business community criticized all those initiatives at a time when downtown vacancies are at a record high. So I'm curious, now that you have those accomplishments behind you, what kind of olive branch, if anything, can you offer the business community right now, whether that's something that comes directly from your administration or from your allies in council, especially since it looks like that's not going to be the LaSalle reimagined?
Well, thank you for those questions. And if I get a chance to talk to Tim Anderson, I'll ask him that question for you. I presume you were talking about Tim Anderson, your favorite shortstop. Okay, all right. Look, throughout my time as mayor, these first 6 months, whether it's been expanding outdoor dining, whether it's been collaborating with the business community around the One Fair Wage, whether it's been collaborating with the business community around paid time off. I continue to show up every single day bringing people together. This budget reflects that. My administration reflects that. Who would have thought a year ago when I was running for mayor that Good Kids Mad City and the Civic Federation would support my budget? We have support from the 34th Ward and the 33rd Ward. People of different ideological presentations, people who have constituencies that vary. That includes the business community. We're doing something new and audacious in this city. By centering the interests of everyday people, the workers, that does benefit business. Everybody knows that. And so we have the fastest growing downtown anywhere in the country. Homicides are down.
Yep.
Shootings are down.
Did you guys notice? Shout out to AB Promotions. He just dodged another question. Like I'm trying to tell you, we got to pay attention. We got to nail these people down. I'm trying to tell y'all, they do not answer questions. Shout out to the replay gang. When you guys watch the videos, make sure that you guys go in on these questions not being answered. They do not answer questions. They need to be answering these questions. These people have people that they answer to, taxpayers and voters. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Tori. And Tori says, you still live? Sheesh. It's not even marathon status yet. It's not even marathon status yet.
We have major investments that continue to come. Metro rides are up Mondays and Fridays coming into downtown Chicago. And so as one of the aldermen expressed today, that even with how we have balanced this budget and put together this plan, it doesn't harm the central business district. Folks are actually on record saying it doesn't. So we managed to provide TIF dollars in relief for the people of Chicago, which those dollars belong to the people of Chicago, while also protecting the central business district. Now, previous administrations have not been able to, strike that balance. I, on the other hand, have built together an incredible coalition. Look at the stage. Look at it. Byron Sigcho Lopez, alderman. Brian Hopkins, alderman. I'm just saying. I mean,
I guess if I can follow up, I'm just wondering, at a time when, like I said, vacancies are still.
What does his staff that he has on stage that he's presenting have to do with how he services his constituency? It's not the stage that he should be referring to as a reference to how satisfied his constituency is. Those are his employees. They need to take a poll at those disgruntled town hall meetings to find out how happy people are. And clearly those people ain't happy. In Brighton Park, they jump in council women and stuff. Shout out to Deneen Grant for the statistics. Make sure y'all throw some flames radiation emoji in the chat. Deneen Grant just fact checked what Brandon Johnson's claim was as far as Chicago. And she said as far as 2019, 4.7% of immigration population from Chicago are from Africa. What about in New York City? What's the percentage in New York City?
Yeah, and look, and I understand what you're saying. Those vacancies, of course, are high because of failed policies from several administrations ago. And what I'm doing, we have put more money towards affordable housing. Alderman Burnett, Vice Mayor Burnett is here, who has been a staunch supporter of bringing things back from the 80s, despite a third of the council wasn't even born in the 80s. So we're building something. And look, I get that there are people who have become accustomed to strife and division in this city. But clearly, we are more united than we have been in a very long time. And so the central business
is Chicago united? Where's the unity in Chicago? Like I said, the only unity that exists in Chicago is that a bunch of groups of people that are on top of each other that don't like each other are all unified in the fact that none of those groups of people are happy with the migrant situation. That's literally the only unification going on in Chicago. That's it. What else is anybody unified on in Chicago? Or possibly they could be unified in dissatisfaction with Brandon Johnson. Those are the only things that I can think of. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 135 people watching and we got 124 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us to 150, that'd be great.
Business district, the vacancies that exist, the poverty that exists, the migrant crisis that exists, that all of the things that I've inherited, we have put forth a budget to address every single component of what people of the city of Chicago have been calling for. And I'm looking forward to the next 23 budgets that I'm going to pass.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Were you aware that your senior advisor was trying to tie the fate of the homeless encampment with legislative votes? And will your administration tolerate that sort of behavior going forward?
I am not necessarily privy to every single conversation that happens throughout the city of Chicago. Now, if you're asking me, do I apologize for my administration advocating for working people and making sure that we put forth solutions to deal with the unhoused in this city? I'm not going to apologize for that. In fact,
nobody, like, again, he literally just completely rerouted a question and started talking about something else.
Strong supporter of bringing things back from the 80s, despite a third of the council wasn't even born in the 80s.
Shout out to Lala Papa.
So we're building something. And look, I get that there are people who have become accustomed to strife and division in this city. But clearly, we are more united than we have been in a very long time.
Yeah, I don't see
And so
it,
the
bro.
central business district, the vacancies that exist, the poverty that exists, the migrant crisis that exists, that all of the things that I've inherited, we have put forth a budget to address every single component of what people of the city of Chicago have been calling for. And I'm looking forward to the
No, they haven't. What he's saying is very different than what the individual interviews of the citizens of Chicago are saying. Most of those people in Chicago literally are saying that they're getting passed up for resources, which means that he's not servicing the taxpayers. Shout out to DSB. What's good with it, bro?
next 23 budgets that I'm going to pass.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Were you aware that your senior advisor was trying to tie the fate of the homeless encampment with legislative votes? And
why does he have such shady advisors? One of his advisors tried to keep that black lady from entering into the chambers at the town hall meeting. Now there's these accusations of this particular advisor. What's up with all these shady advisors that he has around him? What's up with that? Shout out to Yoshimori. What's good with it?
will your administration tolerate that sort of behavior going forward?
I am not necessarily privy to every single conversation that happens throughout the city of Chicago. Now, if you're asking me, do I apologize for my administration advocating for working people and making sure that we put forth solutions to deal with the unhoused in this city? I'm not going to apologize for that. In fact, I'm going to invest in that. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
And just to clarify on the 60-day policy, can you just detail what would exactly happen at the end of a migrant's 60th day of staying at a
Friday,
shelter?
we'll provide more details. There'll be a full briefing on the entire expansion of our plan.
Oh, he got real sassy right there. He got sass. Y'all see that? Well, Brandon Johnson got a dark side.
Hi, Mayor.
Hey.
Mariah? Oh, that's good. Mariah can go. Mariah can go. You talked about the task for this new subcommittee on revenue to kind of attack that structural deficit. Can you specify the next steps for that process? Do you want them to come up with fresh recommendations from scratch, or are they tasked with looking specifically at the revenues that you campaigned on raising?
Everything is on the table. Everything. Whether there are new ideas that I put forth. In fact, I've called on the business community to offer up ideas. Alders offer up ideas. I believe that we are better when we all come together collectively to come up with ideas.
And what are the next steps for that committee? Are they meeting soon? Have you tasked them with kind of a
If you
deadline
talk
for
to
coming up
alders
with
about
ideas?
meetings right now, you're going to trigger a whole lot of people. Look, we're going to do the work of the people. Clearly, we've been working very hard, and that's why the whole impetus behind the subcommittee was to do that very work. Every single campaign promise that I made, I've kept. And making sure that we have a subcommittee dedicated to revenue to come up with creative ideas and not subject ourselves to some of the sloppiness that have occurred over a generation now. That putting together a sophisticated, smart operation within the subcommittee, that is the full impetus behind the why that subcommittee was necessary in the first place. Thank you.
Hey, Mayor.
Hey.
Let's hope you and Anton Cermak don't end up in the same
Okay,
fate.
knock it off. Yeah, knock it off. Yeah. That's unnecessary.
Question about the Department of the Environment. We heard during budget hearings that it will not immediately have enforcement power, that a plan is going to be worked out. When do you envision it to have some teeth? When do you think, what's the timeline for that to be a full-fledged department?
Yeah, look, we're moving with great expedition. I mean, everything that, so here's the thing. There are some people that have argued that I'm moving too fast, right?
I don't think that there's literally anybody that's complaining about you moving too fast. I think that most people are wondering, are you even alive? Like, is anybody home? I don't think there's one person out there who's criticized Brandon Johnson for moving too fast. And if anybody is criticizing Brandon Johnson for moving too fast, the only thing that they're criticizing you for moving too fast on is literally moving too fast at working against Black people's interests. That's about it. You're not moving fast, bro. You don't strike anybody as Sonic the Hedgehog. You kind of actually strike people as a tortoise, and your head with that haircut is even shaped like a tortoise. You know what I'm saying? And so,
right now we have very capable people, and particularly Angela Tovar, who is one of the most brilliant minds around the country. You all, she really is, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone better than her, quite frankly. You know, so the fact that I don't want to blow past the fact that we actually brought the department back. Is it okay if we celebrate that for a second? And that it actually comes with real money? Now, if you're looking for like, hurry up, what's next? You know, that's the good thing about a full term. But what I can say is, as I've said around public safety, having grown up with asthma and still challenged by it, Austin on the west side of Chicago is one of the hottest spots in terms of environmental injustice that exists in this city. I am motivated, as I was when I ran, to make sure that we are doing right by the people of Chicago. And the people of Chicago said they want a Department of the Environment to be returned, fully funded with staff. And we're going to get to work to make sure that we are keeping to other promises that we have made.
Mayor, thank you for taking the questions. Back to
keeping the other promises that we have made. Now, what is he referring to when he's talking about these keeping the other promises that he's made? AB Promotion said he do look like Sonic. Oh man, he like Dr. Robotnik.
As I was when I ran, to make sure that we are doing right by the people of Chicago. And the people of Chicago said they want a Department of the Environment to be returned, fully funded with staff. And we're going to get to work to make sure that we are keeping to other promises that we have made.
Mayor, thank you for taking the questions. Back to Jason Lee. Can you tell me, is that the kind of politics that you endorse? Quid pro quo?
Advocating.
Oh, no, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Now, my question for you guys is, why do you all think that she asked that question? I'm trying to find your comment, Deneen, with the stats in it, but I don't know why it's not showing up. Yeah, it's not, for some reason it's not showing up. Can you put them in again? Now, why do you all think that she's asking that question? I agree. I think that there's a particular reason that she's asking that question. And me personally, the reason why I think that she's asking that question is because she knows, and I think that everybody at that meeting probably knows, that he's overinflating the friendliness of this quote unquote unity and over exaggerating people's satisfaction with the job that he's doing. A blind person can see that he's on his own agenda and not following any agenda that the taxpayers prioritize. So she's probably asking him about quid pro quo to then follow up with a comment about disgruntled taxpayers or disgruntled town hall attendees? Okay, cool. Thank you, Janine. Appreciate it.
Funded with staff, and we're going to get to work to make sure that we are keeping to other promises that we have made.
Mayor, thank you for taking the questions. Back to Jason Lee. Can you tell me, is that the kind of politics that you endorse? Quid pro quo?
Advocating for the unhoused is something that I campaign on. Everybody knows. Look, Chairman.
This is different. This is asking for a vote for in return for public safety.
So that's a mischaracterization. There's been a lot of mischaracterization of conversations all over the city. And look, I get it. Whether it's tension, whether it's, what someone said or what else someone else heard, here's the truth. That we have 70,000 people who are unhoused in this city, of which 1 in 4 Black students in the city of Chicago go unhoused. This
so now here's the question: what do Black students have? What does Black students have to do with what's being talked about right here? Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that he's coached to throw in some type of just random Black stat every now and then? Shout out to Deneen. Deneen says Greater New York and DC have the highest rate of African immigrants at 10% in each city. No city comes close to 70%. So now, so there you go. Right here in this very stream, we've got a receipt that Brandon Johnson is a liar, which we all knew this, but now we have an actual physical receipt that's been debunked. AB said, like on that movie Dodgeball, man, he can dodge a wrench. I wonder if he drinks his own urine because it's sterile.
Keeping to other promises that we have made.
Mayor, thank you for taking the questions. Back to Jason Lee. Can you tell me, is that the kind of politics that you endorse? Quid pro quo?
Advocating for the unhoused is something that I campaign on. Everybody knows. Look, Chairman.
This is different. This is asking for a vote for in return for public safety.
So that's a mischaracterization. There's been a lot of mischaracterization of conversations all over the city. And look, I get it.
How is that a mischaracterization? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Roots Trackers for joining the Discord. Everybody should join the Discord. It's free. It's easy. All you got to do is just hit the link that's in the comment section. And you will also get a notification every time I post content on YouTube. So join that Discord.
Whether it's tension, whether it's, what someone said or what else someone else heard, here's the truth. That we have 70,000 people who are unhoused in this city, of which 1 in 4 Black students in the city of Chicago go unhoused. This is about advocacy. Whether it's my senior advisor or whether it's Alderman Vasquez or anyone else who has been pushing for real support around the unhoused, that this is what this has always been about. And again, I'm not going to apologize for doing right by the people of Chicago. I said that I was going to bring Chicago home. I said I was going to invest in the unhoused. There is no secret to what I said I was going to do. And my administration carrying that out is exactly what the people of Chicago expect in their mayor. And let me just say something to you, Chicago. Every promise that I've made, I've kept it. And that includes making sure that we are dealing with the unhoused in this city. And if anyone wishes to stand in the way of the people of Chicago, well, they're going to get rolled over by the people of Chicago.
Hi, Mayor.
Hey.
So your budget passed with, or the spending portion passed with 41 votes, which was...
Man, this dude is a deflection king. What is he just talking about? Again, he literally didn't answer anything that was asked of him in the question. Literally nothing. Just bypassed everything. So now here's my question for everybody, right? Because as we all know, the Democrats pander. We all know that the Democrats are trying to start working on their campaigns of tricking people and getting people to vote for no reason. And my question is, how do you either deal with this Democrat rhetoric, or how do you get Democrats to nail down a commitment that we know that they're going to break later? That's my question. Because see, the thing is that we got to deal with these people so they don't even get into positions like Brandon Johnson, and we got to cultivate people so that we have people who are ready to hit the ground running if we're able to get them into positions like Brandon Johnson, when we're able to get them into positions like Brandon Johnson, not people like Brandon Johnson himself. You know what I'm saying? So how do we do that?
I mean, a lot of yes votes. And it doesn't include a property tax increase, a lot of good things in there, mental health clinics reopening. Do you think this might be the easiest budget that you pass during this term? Or I don't know. I don't want to say it was easy because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but it was a, feel good budget. I think Walter Burnett said it's gets at like the heartstrings of the city.
Yeah, it taps into the soul. And I'm going to take some executive privilege here because I can just feel the energy of our sister rising up in this room. I would argue that Annette Guzman would argue that this was not easy. Now, look, and I'm not saying that you're characterizing it this way, but in some instances, particularly when Black leadership is on display, as hard as
Here
it
we
is,
go
sometimes we do
again.
make it look
Here
easy.
we go. So now again, let me ask you guys this question, right? Why are we bringing up the Black leadership when has he given an example or an instance of when he attempted to quote unquote lead any Black people? If you're not doing anything for Black people, if you're not advocating or doing anything for the community, if you're harming the community, then how can you call yourself a Black leader? You're not leading Black people. He's a leader for the Hispanic community. He's a leader for the Venezuelan community. And I mean, I'm not saying that being disrespectful. I mean that he is. You know what I'm saying? But he's bringing in the Black talking points to try to get Black people to not address him. If you guys agree that that's a strategy, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree and you all feel that he actually generally has our interest in mind, then give me a thumbs down.
I'm going to take some executive privilege here because I can just feel the energy of our sister rising up in this room. I would argue that Annette Guzman would argue that this was not easy. Now, look, and I'm not saying that you're characterizing it this way, but in some instances, particularly when Black leadership is on display, as hard as it is, sometimes we do make it look easy. That's the beautiful part of working with Black women. You talk to most Black women, they would say every day is hard. Well, you wouldn't know it because the hair is done.
Really? Really? Hey, look, what do y'all got to say about this? What do y'all got to say about this? Y'all hearing it? Y'all hearing it? What is he talking about? This is what I'm talking about right here. This right here, this particular stuff of what I'm talking about, this right here is just a perfect example of what I be talking about all the time. Did y'all see it happening?
They're smiling, they're still cordial, and have experienced some of the greatest microaggressions that this country has ever released on any particular people group. So as far as what it feels like, Alderman Burnett is absolutely right, because it's not just a feeling, it's a reality. Again, when I talk about the full force of government and bringing people together, that's exactly what I did. And that's what I promised the people of Chicago. We're going to continue to work hard, even if it doesn't look we're sweating, but I appreciate the compliment because I think there's a positive way to perhaps respond to your question. Basically saying we look good, don't we?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor.
Good afternoon.
Back to the migrant issue and the funding, the $150 million in the budget. A lot of people.
All of that nonsense that he just said, what question did that answer? Did that address any of the question that he asked? So, like, again, what's consistent here is that Brandon Johnson has a blatant refusal to address questions. And as you guys can see, when it comes to the policy questions, when it comes to a criticism or a critique of something that he is or isn't doing, he gets real sassy real quick. He's getting real sassy real quick. And not to mention making stink faces. Brandon Johnson making stank faces every couple seconds.
Will say isn't going to be enough. You've announced that there will be an announcement later this week. But really, how much are you going to have to rely upon the federal government to step up, especially in the days leading up to the Democratic National Convention?
Look, first of all, thank you for acknowledging the fact that, again, that this is a national problem. It's an international problem. And the federal government has to do more. Now, everyone knows, well, maybe everyone doesn't know. I went to D.C. a couple of weeks ago and I said minimally $5 billion for the country. That's what I said. And, you know, our congressional delegation, I'm in regular conversations with them. They know what their assignment is, just like the state of Illinois knows what their assignment is, just like the Cook County government knows what their assignment is. And, you know, as a public school teacher, I expect you to turn their assignment in. I do.
How much you'd like to see carved out of that $5 billion for Chicago itself?
A lot.
Hi, Mayor. A few questions. Hopefully I can get them all
Oh
in.
my goodness, y'all. All right.
How much money are the state and county giving to the city, and will that accelerate the opening of those base camps? Can you give us a time frame on that?
Well, look, what we have to demonstrate, and this is what, you know, I've said repeatedly, that we all have to come together to address this crisis. You know, and, you know, the state of Illinois, they'll make their announcement tomorrow. They know what the expectations are. Look, we have people sleeping on floors and outside. Our police districts have been overwhelmed since the very beginning of this mission. And look, I don't know what people expect government to accomplish in 6 months. I can tell you what I've accomplished in 6 months. And one of those dynamics is making sure that all of the levels of government are willingly participating in making sure that when police officers show up to work, that they go to a working environment that does not include them having an assignment that is not necessarily a part of their job description. Now, they have done an incredible job, as well as our mutual aid. But I think back to the other gentleman's question, we need the federal government to do more. The state of Illinois, they understand what our requests and what the assignment is as a sanctuary state. They know that we have to clear out these police districts. We got to get people who are sleeping outside indoors, and we have to create work authorization in an expedited way.
Now, here goes my question. Have you heard one plan for any improvement aside from the gender violence spending that Brandon Johnson has planned for Chicago taxpayers? Most of all of these plans are revolving around the migrant influx of people who aren't paying any taxes. But what plans does Chicago have for the people who are paying taxes besides charging them more tax dollars? Now, one of the questions that I would ask would be like, you all don't have any plans for us, because everything that I hear in these meetings is all about migrants, and I'm not a migrant. So, and I also pay your paycheck. So I want to know why I should continue paying your paycheck. And I also want to know why I should continue keeping you in office. And my question is, why should people do that? Or should they not do that? What needs to happen with Brandon Johnson as far as his political career goes?
So that these families can contribute to the economy, and also creating a village in the community so that when other migrants or asylum seekers arrive, that there's a community to receive them.
Are we the only city doing that?
What's that?
Are we the only city being willing to do that? It sort of seems that way.
To do what?
To embrace people as they come in. We're not, the city is not turning, the city's not trying to get rid of migrants.
Well, we're putting some restrictions, right, and some boundaries and parameters in place. But the ultimate goal is to make sure that these families are treated with dignity. Again, there was anti-Black sentiment as Black folks were coming up from the South.
Why are we mentioning Black? Why are we mentioning Black? The entire United States was anti-Black. What are you talking about? Anywhere Black people went in the United States was anti-Black. This dude is a Black man selling out Black people, gaslighting and lying about Black history and downplaying it. I want y'all to see this here. There's no denying this. There's no getting around it. This is who this dude is. This is what this dude is doing. This is wild, but we watching it in real time. You know what I'm saying?
And what the assignment is as a sanctuary state. They know that we have to clear out these police districts. We got to get people who are sleeping outside indoors, and we have to create work authorization in an expedited way so that these families can contribute to the economy, and also creating a village in the community so that when other migrants or asylum seekers arrive, that there's a community to receive them.
Are we the
Much
only
like-
city doing that?
What's that?
Are we the only city being willing to do that? It sort of seems that way.
To do what?
To embrace people as they come in. We're not. The city is not turning. The city's not trying to get rid of migrants.
Well, we're putting some restrictions, right, and some boundaries and parameters in place. But the ultimate goal is to make sure that these families are treated with dignity. Again, there was anti-Black sentiment as Black folks were coming up from the South. Look, the anger and
now here goes my question. We got 136 people watching, so we should get 136 answers. I want to know what you guys' idea of the reason why Brandon Johnson mentioned Black people in that particular instant. What was his reason for doing that? Why did he do that? He's weaponizing his Blackness, and he's doing it for multiple reasons. So what I want to know is I want to know from you guys your thoughts of what was his purpose of doing that. He ought to be ashamed of himself.
the visceral reaction and response that some people have offered is quite frankly,
Shout out to Eddie Long.
they are contributing to the seed of discord that is coming from the extreme presentation in this country that wants to divide us. And we're not going to allow them to do that. And here's the other thing. I know that there are people who are genuinely concerned about our budget. I know that. And they want to make sure that we are investing in people. When you look at this budget from youth employment, we had 25,000 young people who had jobs this summer. 64% of them were Black children. 46,000 applied. We're increasing the budget to hire 4,000 more Black children, passing the peace book, dealing with the unhoused,
now he keeps bringing
violence
up
prevention.
Again, he just brought up Black children. But none of these programs that he's talking about are programs that are meant specifically for Black people. Why do you keep invoking Black people in talking about this stuff when none of this money that you're talking about is going to Black people? Why are you doing that? Now, here's my question that I have for everybody that needs to be the thing that people work on until we crack the code for it. How do you get people to stop doing that? And how do you ensure that people never do it again once you get them to stop? That's the question that everybody needs to be working on 2024. What's your thoughts on that?
Reentry. What's the other one? Reparations, economic development.
Now, shout out to Umar Johnson, right? I'm one of his biggest fans. Psych. But when it comes to Brandon Johnson is definitely ill-minded. The brother is ill-minded. He is too ill-minded to be mayor. I say this man is too ill-minded to be mayor. I say this man is too ill-minded to be the mayor of Chicago. Now run me them donations. Would you guys agree that Brandon Johnson is too ill-minded to be the mayor of Chicago? My fellow Africans, if you guys agree with me, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
I mean, look, I'm not asking you all to just stand up and clap for the city council, but my God, when was the last time have you seen a city council as determined as this one?
If this man is ill-minded, I need you to stand up and clap. I said, if this man is too ill-minded to be mayor, stand up and clap, my fellow Africans, brothers and sisters. If this man is too ill-minded to run a city, stand up and clap.
To meet the needs of everyone.
Okay. So the Chamber of Commerce just had an event and kind of name checked you because you weren't there. Did you get invited? Did you choose not to go? I'm just curious.
You know, I get invitations all the time. I'm not sure if I was invited to this one. I mean, look, I will say this though. I have had more fireside chats with the business community than rerun episodes of Martin. I'm just saying, like, look, I've made myself available for every single community, and I get it that people want.
So he's had more fireside chats with the business community than rerun episodes of Martin. I don't think that there's actually a lot of rerun episodes of Martin. Now, if you had said rerun episodes of Law and Order, I might be impressed by that number, but you know what I'm saying? my impression of Dr. Ill-Minded was spot on. That's what his name should be, Dr. Ill-Minded.
My time 24/7. Every now and then a brother has to eat and kiss my babies and give my wife a great big hug. And guess what I'm gonna do tonight as soon as I'm done here? Just that.
Hi, Mayor.
Hey.
When you announced this 60-day limit on the stay in shelters, are you concerned that that will
Yeah,
make
I
the migrants
got
living
to agree 110%. I gotta agree 110%. If you guys agree with La Papa, he's trying hard to sell his blackness, and for all the wrong reasons, right? Because there's nothing wrong with legitimately and just naturally being you as a black person, right? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. But what this dude is doing is nefarious. And he's doing it blatantly. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it blatantly. And I know I've it's been a while for me to get over this haircut that he has. It's just shout out to Shamika Gray. He do look like Jimmy Neutron. You know what I'm saying? He looks like this dude is a space cadet. You know what I'm saying? He's a space cadet.
in the shelters concerned, nervous? Are you worried about adding to that burden that they are already facing under tough circumstances? And why announce it now today with that limit without giving them any of those details, leading to already a lot of concern about what will happen?
Yeah, everyone has concerns in this moment. Our residents have concerns. Our new arrivals have concerns.
Man, Rick C got me dying laughing. If y'all, I'm not about to read Rick C's comment, and y'all know why, but I want y'all to take a moment and read Rick C's comment. And if y'all agree, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Man, I'm dead. What's that? What's his name in the background? Bruce he or Bruce she? Bruce he, Bruce she, or Bruce Lee? Now that's intersectionality for you right there. You got two genders and a person of color.
And creating balance and addressing everyone's concerns, it reminds me when I taught middle school. It does, because in some instances, you talk to middle school students, you know, one particular portion could have a tremendous amount of anxiety and fear, and then within 5 minutes, they can have hope and aspiration. And this approach that we have right here is to make sure that we are addressing the anxiety and fear that people have, whether you are a taxpayer or whether you are someone who is seeking asylum in the city of Chicago, or also speaking to the hopes and aspirations. Here's what this 60-day tiered approach does. It puts some onus on all levels of government to help move with some expedition to get people to work. Do you understand that when asylum seekers are coming to Chicago, do you understand that they don't want the police district and the floor outside to be their final destination?
They didn't even know if they would make it to Chicago with all the rough terrain and stuff that they crossed to try to get here. And nobody made them come. Like, they did that on their own. We don't owe them anything because they arrived here, my dude. Like, you don't make any sense. Ain't nobody trying to sit here and rationalize with this insanity that you sitting up here talking about. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Maximus Royalty. Maximus Royalty said Brandon Johnson is nothing but Agent Smith from the Matrix. I would say that he Agent Smith, but he moved too damn slow, bro. He moves way too slow to be Agent Smith. And I ain't gonna lie, like Agent Smith had a little bit of swag. You know what I'm saying? Brandon Johnson is he's an NPC, bro. He's an NPC. He is a non-playable character. He's an Edgar suit. He's the Edgar suit of the Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying? He wants sugar and butter biscuits. You know what I'm saying?
That's their biggest fear. And pushing all levels of government to do their part speaks to the anxiety and fear that people have, but we pull heavily in the direction of hope and aspiration.
Would it be incorrect to see this as the city of Chicago rolling up the welcome mat and saying that there is no more that the city can do for these asylum seekers?
Now, what's interesting about it is that the asylum seekers decided to roll up the welcome mat and hop on the next bus back to where they came from in many situations because the gravy train stopped. The gravy train went all off the rails like how that one train did in East Palestine, Ohio. It was coming around the corner and that shit said, you know what I'm saying? It was like, just blew up, and it was like, yeah, she going on in Chicago anymore, man. We got to get up out of here. Like, seriously? So, like, now what's going on is, like, a lot of cats are leaving from Chicago and going back to where they from. They getting free plane tickets and all that. Bouncing. Because the gravy train hath deraileth. You know what I'm saying? There's no more gravy.
We will always be a welcoming city and a sanctuary city.
He said,
Now, as I've said repeatedly.
Now, he said that we will always be a welcoming city and we will always be a sanctuary city. I do, man, this dude is so clueless, man. He is lost. Look at him. Look at him. Bruh, have you not seen or heard anything that the residents of Chicago have said? How is Brandon Johnson going to make it a sanctuary city if when it's up for vote, everybody votes against it being a sanctuary city? No, he's not good at it at all, bro. He's not good at it at all. He's not good at gaslighting at all. He tries it. And what's crazy about it is, like, you can see the hope and the sparkle in his eye because, like, he believes his own gaslighting, which is wild. And he smiles and he looks glossed over and just gone, like the lights are on and nobody's home. Like, I've literally never seen anybody just as empty. He looked like his face literally looks like he takes an entire bottle of psych pills every morning. And he just got a flat affect, like just nothing in there. Lost in the fire. Yeah, facts. It's just gone. There's nothing there. You can listen, you can hear a pin drop inside his head. You can hear a marble roll around in there, echo. Brandon. Anybody. Home. That's how it sounds when you say something into his ear.
City of Chicago rolling up the welcome mat and saying that there is no more that the city can do for these asylum seekers?
We will always be a welcoming city and a sanctuary city. Now, as I've said repeatedly, as I put forth my plan, the plan has always been to get them out of.
Listen, man, we're not about to listen to any more of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not listening to somebody who looks like they shook up a can of whipped cream and sprayed his haircut on top of his head. That's ridiculous. It's over. It's done. He's an idiot. He has no situational awareness. He doesn't pay any attention to his constituency. And again, somebody shook up a can of black Ready Whip and sprayed it on top of his head. And that's what we're calling a haircut out here. It's over for Brandon Johnson. You know what I'm saying? But what I want people to take away from this is pay attention to what kind of liar this dude is. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to how he has no integrity. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to how he'll just flat out lie about statistics, and we can just go back and check the statistics to see if they're accurate or not. And also, people need to be made aware of these tricks and tactics that they use so that they can intercept them and deflect them down and be able to have a clear mind, you know what I'm saying, and make better decisions so that people can take back the power in their areas, because there's a lot of people gunning to try to take the little bit that we have, and people got to hold it down to make sure that we protect what's ours. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, do not move a muscle. Do exactly like how Brandon Johnson does while he's mayor. You know how Brandon Johnson don't do anything? Don't do anything. Do exactly like Brandon Johnson do for like 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It'll take you into the premiere window for the next stream. Make sure while you're in there, you hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to Reacts, you subscribe to Reacts. Share the stream to your social media. Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat. I want to shout out the stream sponsor. Shout out to my man AB Promotion with the ducats. Shout out to my man AB Promotion again with the ducats. Shout out to my man Mr. King for joining the membership. And shout out to Denise Scales with the ducats. You know what I'm saying? And ladies and gentlemen, players and pimps, as always,
life. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up. Look, walking this bitch like, hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey. I'm really him. Don't believe me? Come and see me. Got 3 wishes from my genie. Now I'm on your local TV. Y'all on tour. Got demons say she wanna come and see me when I'm in a local city. I'm like, pause though. Please step aside so they can see me. And I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. I'm the realest from my city. That's on money, that's on TV, that's on mamas. Niggas don't believe me, come and see me. I been dodging all that fake. All these niggas working broke, but I been getting paid. All that know me from the street. Flexing for what feature, that's like every other week. Talk behind my back, I kick my feet up, have a seat. Cause at the end of the day, all these watching me as I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up. Look, walking this light. Hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey.